Is my mic working? Yes, it is. Panic. Well, we'll wait for about 5 minutes. Cold open.
Yeah, you can't be any more colder than that. Good God.
All that was live?
Yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Wow.
The only thing that I felt was appropriate for anything that involves a live stream in the history of his channel is it working?
Dead silence. Ashley, like, mouthing words that we don't understand.
Exactly.
And us starting fashionably late. Sounds about right. Brian simply says noisemaker in parentheses. How appropriate. Josie says, hey folks, happy 10th anniversary. Congrats on still going strong. Well, it seems like only yesterday I decided to iPod Touch 4th generation, and I started filming little mini vlogs that lasted like 2-3 minutes. So much so that AJ, do you remember the website You're Getting Report?
I was just gonna say, yeah, you were only like 2 or 3 videos in, and you already got like massively trolled.
Yeah, big time. I was like, oh, he does like 15-second videos and everything. He's got like 50 of them. They got like no views. Well, you know, and here we are now. So, you know, in your hat. Welcome.
You know what else is really funny about that?
What'd you say?
You know what else is really funny about that?
Go ahead.
I remember it was after that happened to me was when I told you, and that's why I'll never be on YouTube.
And you stuck it out for quite a while.
Yeah.
Even bringing the fact that, we'll get to that in a minute, even bringing the fact that he created reviews that I read verbatim on camera very awkwardly before he finally debuted on this channel in the flesh. Speaking, officially, the first video we ever filmed for this channel back in 2012. The first video I ever put up on this channel in 2012. He was a literal background extra with no dialogue.
Yeah, because if you had told, like, I think I'm under the impression we wouldn't even be doing it for a year.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll do this, I guess, because he won't stop asking.
Yep.
And then, like, nothing else really took off. So it was like, well, at least there's this.
Yeah. And I remember, even kind of getting ahead of ourselves, I remember the reason that you kept doing it is because you wanted an excuse to talk about movies.
Right.
And it gave you a reason to watch movies that you haven't seen in a while, just to kind of refresh your memory on things, and then we do reviews on them. So that's your real cold open, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Owen. I look a whole lot than I did in 2012. That's a shoot from every way possible. I'm a little older, a little wiser. Starting to get hair in really weird places, man. We've already done that bit before, but I don't care. Love Wayne's World. Welcome to a decade of Popcast Network, exclusively here on the Popcast Network, literally and figuratively. Joining me, as always, since day one, literally, AJ.
Yeah.
Took a while for him to talk and to be on camera without just having the camera turned on him. But he showed up. And then in 2014, Ashley was doing a little show called Sticks and Flicks on the SNS Radio Network. Formed a friendship. We started doing wrestling reviews. We brought him to Pop. And he's here today. Welcome, Ashley.
Well, technically, it was even before that. It was a Sunday night show.
Technically speaking, your introduction video was in 2014.
Yeah.
Because I watched it today, trying to get ready for the show.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And somewhere along the way, we had someone else on this channel that was here since day one. And he was a big part of the beginning of this channel. And that was Will. For those of you that remember Will did a very blatant, nostalgic ripoff called Mr. Flashback. Always provided Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonations. And joined us, as in me and Ashley, for a lot of wrestling podcasts before they were wrestling podcasts, when they were just reviews. And I wouldn't know AJ without the introduction that I made back at the movie theater so many years ago to the fourth member of this panel, the newest member of Popcast Network and more of a permanent member now. And that's Chris.
21 years. Been 20.
Dear God. Your introduction to this channel was through the video we filmed in Athens, standing outside of the marquee of the Athena Cinema, where Seven Psychopaths was spelled wrong.
Yeah.
And in the background, you can hear your voice clear as day. I believe there's a little bit of AJ, but it's mainly you. And I remember that also tied into a video that I'm sure AJ remembers very well. Athens really loves them, some Michael Shannon.
I think you also, around that same time, made a very long vlog in the CVS that was there that never saw the light of day.
Yeah, I was really into like the shop kicking thing back in the day. And we talk about Pop being the thing as of May 1st, 2013, and that's the reason why we're celebrating tonight. But I started this channel back in Columbus, Ohio in 2012. It was called Welcome to My World. That's why I say that AJ's been here since day one, literally, because he's in that video, whether he wanted to be or not. Because he just had Will turn the camera on him, or sitting at B-dubs when I was playing trivia, doing the literal introduction of this channel. But yeah, I was big into shop kick. And like I mentioned on Twitter, and I'll say again, if it wasn't for the Tim Tracker and Dr. Jimmy, I wouldn't have started YouTube in the first place. Basically, I was kind of ripping off Tim's style and everything at the beginning. And I remember saying that Pop was going to be kind of like a version of that guy with the glasses originally. That was the original concept. We were going to be like our versions of, because obviously we literally had a Mr. Flashback. And we were going to do different facets of pop culture, and that's why Pop existed the way that it did. And when we went from Welcome to My World to Pop, everything changed. And the channel changed, and the people changed. And then we had a revolving door of people that would cameo every once in a while, and now we've got what we've got today, which, ironically enough, through the power of the internet, is exactly what I originally had planned. A group of people sitting around discussing a topic every month. That was the original plan for the Popcast Network. When it was Pop, that was the deal. We were all going to gather around Buffalo Wild Wings. We were going to have one person pick a topic, and we were going to discuss it. That's what we've got now. It only took 10 years to get there, but that's what we got now. So yeah, we've got a live chat. We've got a lot of people that are going to help us look back into the past and to look towards the future of what we have still to come, obviously. And shout out to the ones that no longer are with the network for helping make their videos entertaining. We've done so many weird things on this channel. Everything from Tristan going through the drive-thru at the fast food restaurant, 7-hour Halloween Horror Nights podcast. Missed the Horror Nights videos. Everything from Ashley and I yelling about professional wrestling every single week on here, So many things we've done on this channel. So many AJ's movie reviews, so many verses, so many segments within segments that we're going to reflect on it tonight. So that's exactly what we're going to do here on our 10-year anniversary of the Popcast Network. We're going to bounce around a lot today. We really are. AJ's first movie review was read by me personally in February of 2013. Very badly, mind you. My God. We started talking about the Oscars on this channel in 2013, and that was just me doing Oscar predictions. So yeah, I did Oscar predictions back in 2013 before anything. From the last video on the iPod Touch before it died finally in April of 2013. And then we started Pop. And then May 1st, 2013, everything began with a video that was filmed in Will's car. Actually, Will was not driving, he was sitting as a passenger. Alan, someone else that we remember from back in the day that used to work at the theater chain that Chris and I used to work at, he was actually driving, and Will was the passenger, and we welcomed everyone to Pop. And AJ joined the reviews of Iron Man 3 and The Place Beyond the Pines on the 3rd of May, 2013. So if you're paying attention, we're almost there 10 years later. So AJ's return movie review is going to be on May 3rd, 2023. Officially announced today. We're talking Scream, we're talking Renfield, we're talking Murder Mystery 2 on May 3rd, 2023. 10 years to the day AJ started this, sitting on my mom's couch back at my old place where we all used to live.
I was just remembering when you brought up those reviews that I would write that you would read when we first started.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the first movie of that year was Gangster Squad.
Yep.
And I started writing reviews just as an exercise.
Yep.
Like it wasn't even anything that was meant to be seen.
You're
and
right.
By the time we got to February, you were like, well, why don't I just read those? And then, like, within that 2 months, you eventually convinced me to do Iron Man 3 when it came around.
Yeah, we started Versus on June 16th of 2013 with a battle of the Wizard of Oz versus Oz the Great and Powerful. Back when we were doing categories for Versus, so much has changed. It's funny because we used to have, like, the movie cases. We would find the movie posters and we'd dummy up a movie case and we would print it out and we'd put it on a blank case. So we'd always have those. I remember the funny one is the fact that we used a laptop for Oz the Great and Powerful.
There was the laptop for Oz the Great and Powerful. There was the fact that we had a printout of the Blu-ray cover of The Princess Bride, but it's in a DVD case.
Yep.
And there's the ones that came out orange for some reason. And looking back, I'm shocked we actually went through with that. I probably should have just done no visuals over the orange case.
I remember literally, like, we were like filming on the floor. Like I would lay on the floor and like I'll out myself. I don't care. I would fall asleep during some of the reviews because it would go so long. I remember doing that. The extension cord would have to be all the way out, so we'd have to set it up so that would be the only way we could make it work.
The one I was most worried about you falling asleep was Alien versus Prometheus, because you were this close to leaning into the frame asleep.
Yep. I remember that. Totally remember that.
Was it Paramount?
Yeah, and somehow...
I'm trying to remember if it
What'd
was
you say?
Paramount or whatever that got into a hissy fit over the DVD covers.
Yeah, it was Paramount and Beverly Hills Co-op.
Yeah.
And it's funny because somewhere along the way, we talked about doing that guy with the glasses back in the day. Well, Brad Jones started doing these Brad Try segments, and I was like, I want to do this as well. So I invented Sip and Snack, stealing from my friends at the WDW Today podcast. We did a stroll around Epcot, and they called it Sip and Snack, and I took it from them. It's great because they gave me permission to use it, so I've been using it ever since. And Sip and Snack came to the network in 2014. First time I've ever had a Twinkie, which is weird. I know. And when I got to try Surge again for the first time since I was a kid. And Sip and Snack has become a cornerstone, literally, of this channel since. So that's coming up soon. Sip and Snack. That's next year, not this year. But yeah, that's a nice little way to start off the show. We have a lot of questions from Spencer Reed. He said he was a little bit busy, so he chimed in. I've got questions from Josie as well. There's questions from Brian, questions from Kathy. Have some fun, ladies and gentlemen.
We will point out that to try to speed things up a little bit, since they were already up, you went ahead and gave me Spencer's questions before we started because they required some research. So yeah. those are already like pre-answered here. I just have to say them.
Yeah, I gave AJ the Iggy because we were trying to make it so you would give your questions early on so we'd have an idea. Because some of these, throughout the Pop the Question segment and any of the QA segments we've ever done on here, there's a lot of very involved thinking to be done. And that equals dead air. So trying to eliminate as much as possible in the anniversary show would be a good idea, and that's the reason why I did some research as well. But thank God when it comes to some of these questions that I was asked, they tie into AJ so he can help me a little bit with those because, I mean, we're not one brain, of course, but I mean, he does help me remember things that I may have forgotten or jogs my memory so I can remember and like, oh yeah, da-da-da-da, and that's exactly where we're going. So we're going to start with Spencer's questions, and I'm actually just going to go through chat. So welcome everyone that's in chat. If you want to leave a question, we have a regular QA show in 2 weeks. I'm not going to scold you for that. I'm not going to be the teacher here, but I will say that this is a special anniversary show. This will only happen once. This is celebrating 10 years of Popcast Network. If it's been mentioned on this channel in the past, and that's even back to the 2012 stuff before we were officially Pop, it's fair game. If you have traditional questions that don't tie in anything, we definitely will take them and we will use them, but try to limit them as much as you can. My goal is not to go 4 hours, but you never know. It's a special show, so let's do this. Spencer says, hey guys, super busy today with work, so I'll send my questions quick. So that's what he said in chat, but I'll tell you what he said to me. It's Spencer, won't be able to attend live tonight, so I thought I'd send my questions over email. Thank you for all the entertainment you, AJ, Chris, and Ashley have provided, and a special thank you for Pacific Heights. Of course.
And just to throw this out there, sometime in the near future, my brother may or may not really have your back on the Pacific Heights thing. Just
yes,
throwing that out there.
Keep up the good work and being an excellent channel in good times and bad times for me. Well, we appreciate you saying that, Spencer, very much. And that's why I wanted to make sure it was read out loud verbatim for what you said, because I think everyone needed to hear it. And we appreciate that. That's the great thing. We may not have the biggest fan base, but we have a very loyal one, and we really appreciate everyone coming here every 2 weeks in our chat room, in the comment section. Just have fun with us, honestly. Way beyond the award season, and way beyond the Sip and Snacks, the verses, the voices content, everything.
Yeah, I need to mention that I'm really bad at getting compliments.
Yeah.
So I don't want it to sound like I'm dismissive of hearing something like that. Like, oh yeah, whatever. I never know how to react. But yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, we got lot of fun questions to have, and we're just getting started. Honestly, I don't know about what my cap is for tonight. I don't know what. I guess we'll see how the show flows. Normally, I'd be like, "Oh, we're hard cut off at 7:00." No. Special show, special rules. God knows how long we're going to be tonight, and we're here for you guys. We're going to have some fun tonight. Sit back and reflect on 10 years of Popcast Network. Meanest comment you've ever received on any video in the past 10 years, and nicest and most funny. Well, Spencer, I'll shoot right now. AJ doesn't see all the comments. Ashley didn't see all the comments. Ashley can see all the comments. He's the only other person that has that, other than myself, that has access to the actual channel. So if I piss Ashley off, we're all screwed. So he laughs. That's good. Good response.
You've told me some of the negative ones, but none of them have really stuck.
No, I mean, our older stuff, maybe more of the trolling comments, that stuff, and like the random bots up in chat and everything. Like, nothing really like terrible, honestly. Just like people that have differing opinions, so nothing really that bad. There's been some giggle-worthy comments that we've had in the past. Nothing comes to mind off the top of my head.
Every now and then we've run into those people that, basically the worst kind of people, where if it comes out of their mouth, they just kind of assume that it's a fact when they're
right
when they're talking out of their ass.
Especially during award season, we get that a lot.
Yeah.
But that's mainly a live chat thing. It's not mainly a comment thing. We've got a lot of mean comments in the past, but to be fair, I kind of delete anything that's negative because I don't need any non-positivity in my life. Makes sense. So there's always that.
Interestingly enough, I would say the worst thing is probably that stuff you got at the very beginning before I was even here.
Yeah.
When you got trolled like right away.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Spencer's asking AJ directly, any 3-star reviews you regret looking back? Movies aging badly or a changed opinion?
Yeah, I wrote some of those. I feel like there has to be more, but I wrote down 4 and then just a general answer. And my brother might try to debate me on one of these.
I got your back, of course. You know this.
First one that came to mind was American Hustle. I feel like even back then, I felt like I was forcing myself to like American Hustle because I believe in the review video, there were quite a few things I had against American Hustle already.
Yep.
But I still, the main thing was it was distractingly, he was trying way too hard to be Scorsese with that movie. And the fact that it came out right around the same time as The Wolf of Wall Street only made that even more apparent. Okay. I feel like I'm a bit more informed now than I guess than I was in like early 2015, late 2014. But I remember hearing negative comments about the movie at the time, but it was also a movie that was really swept up in award season.
Mm-hmm.
Which usually comes with the expectation of good things. And I remember it being a movie that I liked and a movie that I tried to defend in a way. But now I'm second guessing myself, and I have not been able to bring myself to rewatch this movie because I'm terrified of how bad it might look now.
Wow, heck of a build up, sir.
That's American Sniper.
Ooh, interesting.
I mean, you can probably imagine why. I think.
Yeah,
I remember the first thing that really struck me was I think it had already come out and I'd already reviewed it and I said positive things about it. And then Seth Rogen put out that tweet that said American Sniper is basically the American version of Nation's Pride from Inglourious Basterds. And it was like, oh my God, that's right.
He's not wrong, and that's the first time I've ever heard that.
So I have not rewatched American Sniper since the award season for 2014, and I'm hesitant to. So, yeah. and there's still thing about, you know, how truthful was Chris Kyle, how potentially crazy was Chris Kyle, stuff like that. What's sensitive, what is I don't know. I feel like we were already kind of walking a line during that review back then, and just I don't know. I don't know. One that pains me to say is I probably went too easy on it too, because I really wanted those two movies to work as one big thing, but there were a lot of places in it too where they dropped the ball. So 3 stars might have been too generous. But Bill Hader really, Bill Hader and James Ransone really like bumped it up. But yeah, it's a fucking mess of movie. It's a big fucking mess.
All right.
And brother, you might get mad. We might get into a debate where me and my brother almost started throwing hands in a Mexican restaurant over this. So I can't really say the quality of the movie has changed for me. It's just a retrospect thing. I praised and gave 3 stars to the first Deadpool. And he's just really
Yes, it is. Absolutely. I smell it all the way from Florida.
Okay, here's the thing. Remember when I talked about the Rob Zombie trilogy?
Yeah.
And I said I used to love The Devil's Rejects. The Devil's Rejects was like one of the greatest movies ever to me when it came out. Even a few years after that. And then the more Rob Zombie made movies, the more I realized all the stuff that's bad about his movies now are in The Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
And so it makes The Devil's Rejects not as good in retrospect. And it's like now that Ryan Reynolds is continuing to drill this as far into the ground as possible, all faults I have with Deadpool 2 are also in the first one. It's just they're played out now. So I don't know, but I do think I don't know if it's fair to put that on the first movie. But it's hard to go back to the first movie now because I get annoyed because that's the thing. That's just what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's brother, do you have any arguments?
Yeah, I don't understand the logic in how the first movie in something is going to pay the sins of its sequels. If it worked then, nothing changed except that you got too much of it, but that doesn't take away from the movie itself in a bubble of time of what it had.
Yes, it does. I have 2 prime examples, and AJ knows where I'm going with this.
Well, I do agree with my brother that I think it is unfair to the first movie. But what are your examples?
My examples are Sinister 2 and Monsters University.
I don't really see those because I don't think. I mean, yeah, in Sinister, I'll fight you on that because the thing we brought up was that Sinister 2 made Bagul not scary.
Right. Which I think kills the effectiveness in some ways of the original movie.
But I give credit to the first movie. Remember, it was brought up recently. I think Spencer asked, have we rewatched Sinister? And I said, no, I'm too afraid to.
No, I'm not going to do that again. No.
Yeah, the fact that I have been too afraid to rewatch Sinister, I think, means that Sinister 2 has not ruined it. And what was the other one?
Your point, AJ. I have a counterpoint for you.
Monsters
University. And I was going to say, I don't think Monster University is the best movie, but it doesn't have any bearing on my opinion of the first one.
It's ruined the whole movie it's ruined the franchise for me personally.
What's funny to me about that is I don't know, because for me it comes back to when we saw the 3D re-release of Monsters Inc. in 2012.
Okay.
Which was the year before Monsters University came out.
Yeah.
And when we were watching that, I was like, I don't think I'm into Monsters Inc. anymore. Like, it's almost, I feel like Pixar has to be about it, and Monsters Inc. definitely has some very strong scenes in it.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2012, I was starting to feel that Monsters Inc. was a little too childish
Right.
in many places. It still got very strong moments, especially the ending, but
Sure.
I found it like a more than a typical Pixar movie.
I can see that.
Which is fine because these movies are for children at the end of the day anyway. But still, there's still that maturity factor in them. But I don't know. I haven't completely turned on Monsters Inc., but I was already pulling back on Monsters Inc. before Monsters University even happened. So
Sure, I remember that.
What was going to be your point, brother?
Do you hate the Rise of Skywalker?
Yes.
Does it affect your opinion on A New Hope at all?
No. Actually, I guess I can strengthen your point.
Okay, another one for you. What's one of your least favorite things that happens in a movie? When a heel goes good, right? That's one of your pet peeves, right?
Are you bringing Vader into this?
I am. Did you
The
not watch that scene in Rogue One and be like, this is the best Vader scene that's ever filmed? How'd it take 30 years to do it?
Vader's babyface turn in Return of the Jedi is one of the best scenes in movie history.
Okay.
Without the no added. That was bullshit. But yeah, I was gonna say your point is actually even stronger than you think, because not only has Rise of Skywalker not affected my opinion of the original trilogy, I still like The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. I know you're not supposed to say you like The Last Jedi, but you know, I'm an adult, so
I'll join you on that. I'll stand with you on the liking Last Jedi rock. I'll stand there with you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Last Jedi has problems. For God's sake, I'm not ignoring that.
Yeah.
But it's still, there's more good in it than bad to me.
Plus, my enjoyment of a movie doesn't always depend on it being good. I mean, my number 3 movie of all time is Batman '89, and it's got some glaring flaws in it.
Does it though? Batman '89 is getting more and more perfect to me as time goes on.
I don't know. Maybe that might have been more of a lip service thing than anything, because actually I really love Batman '89. I can't talk bad about it. I feel like I just insulted a loved one.
I was gonna say you don't have to force it. You can just say, "Hey, I just want to say right now, I love Batman '89," and we'd be like, "Yeah, I agree. Let's just agree on that."
Yeah. Let's not beat up on Batman '89. But no, basically,
Well,
I can see both your points. I can see Owen's point, but to me, like, you can't criticize a movie for doing something at the time was original just because it's been overdone now.
It's the rewatchability that gets me, though. It's like, I understand I'm not judging the concept of what it originally was. I'm talking about trying to go back to it now after what I know. Forgetting what I know now would make Bagul scarier, obviously.
Well, I think there's a difference when you're looking at plot points in the sequels as opposed to like AJ is, where he's just focusing on a joke that was hammered in the ground.
Well, that's why Monsters University is a cult, and that's all I need to say. So,
well, guys, I have one more answer to this question, and I don't think this debate is over. I think this debate's about to continue.
God damn it.
It's not a specific movie. I am starting to think. I mean, I was kind of starting to think this, but now I'm really starting to think this.
I think I know where we're going with this.
I went really easy on a lot of Marvel movies.
Yeah, you did.
And I know critics were often accused of that, or still accused of that.
Sure.
And it's like, oh, fuck off. They're like actually good. And I'm not saying they're bad now. I'm saying I went too easy on a lot of them probably in this like kind of later half. Because now you're gonna get a review video later this week of Ant-Man 3, and Ant-Man 3 was a real turning point for me, Marvel-wise. Ant-Man 3 almost brought this whole House of Cards down. for me. And starting with me thinking Moon Knight was overrated, but that's TV shows. But yeah, I'm trying to think of where the cutoff was, where I was like, maybe I was like, maybe a lot of people are bashing Black Widow lately, and I was positive towards it. So probably in this area, like Doctor Strange 2, I only liked the second half of, but I think I still gave it 3 stars, which doesn't really equal out. But so I guess the question is the exact same debate we've been having. Is people have been complaining about Marvel movies since they started, saying, "Oh, they're all the same thing. They have all the sense of humor, and all of that is forced. It's always the same plot."
Right.
And it's like, now that the movies are getting worse to me, I'm starting to see a validity in the criticisms all the past movies got. But yeah, Marvel's, though, is a different thing altogether, because it's the whole giant story. Where it's like, I'll sit there and think, like, is Endgame overrated? And then I'll just think about the last, like, half hour of the movie, from the battle to the funeral, and the ending, and it's like, nah, it's not. I mean, that's a fraction of that 3-hour runtime, but that fraction of the 3-hour runtime is enough for me to say, no, it's not overrated.
Well, I mean, I haven't turned the corner on superhero movies, but there's only really a few that I feel are must-sees for me. Like, anything Batman related, I'm going to jump on. Weirdly enough, lately, I can say anything Spider-Man, I'll jump on, even though I've never seen the animated Spider-Man, which I know everybody loves and thinks it might be the best Spider-Man that existed. I've heard there's arguments about that. But it's like, I don't care about these other characters enough to focus on them, unless it's awards season and I have to. But I saw the trailer the other day. I was watching movies the other day like I do on Fridays, and I saw the Blue Beetle trailer. I do not care. Shoot, do not care. Superhero movie, do not care. But you give me a Flash trailer? Don't care about the Flash. But I got my Batman in there, so that's all that matters. So there's elements of the movie that make me intrigued. Just like Guardians. Like, everybody in the world loves Guardians. I love the ride. The ride's great. First original movie was fine. Never saw the sequel. And I had no interest in seeing the new one. And it's everywhere. And it's going to be everywhere this weekend. And I'm just like, so, I don't care. I'll watch something else.
Because the first Guardians really exceeded my expectations.
Huh.
I fucking loved Guardians 2. Guardians 2 turned me around on Christmas.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I just don't really feel anything about the third one coming. Even them building up, it's like a climax of the trilogy. I'll still see it, and I'm sure I trust James Gunn that I'll think highly of it, but I don't really have excitement for it.
It's just like, and then we got this new Transformers movie, and I have not cared about the Transformers franchise in a long time. So it's like, this has no effect on me. But like Fast X, I mean, I don't know why it's 2 parts, but it's there. And I'm more interested in what's going to happen with Dom and the family than I am with what's going to happen with Optimus Prime.
Oh, let me take a wild guess. Jason Momoa is going to turn into a good guy, and he's going to be at the cookout at the end with all the other previous villains.
Yep. Roman Reigns, too. Just because.
Brother, where do you stand on the Marvel debate? Because of your love of Batman, people have the misconception that you're all in on DC, but you've been all in on the MCU for quite some time now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I'm kind of getting to the same camp because Panther 2 came out, didn't see it in the theater, didn't really affect me. Ant-Man's coming out, not really affecting me. Like, it all feels like stuff I can just wait and stream later. Guardians 3 I might do, but like you guys brought up, like I'm sitting here like, But Flash has me excited with a series that has literally gone nowhere just because of who's in it.
Yeah.
And it's funny, Owen, that you brought up that you watched The Flash because of Batman. Because when the second trailer came out, I actually saw a comment where somebody said, "Wow, why'd they stick the Flash in this Batman?"
Oh, they were bashing. I remember the other night, I think they were bashing Batman versus Superman the other day. I was like, yeah, it's like, it's a great Batman movie. The other guy has to be in it, I guess. But I mean, once he's gone, we're good.
See, the thing that's going to get lost in all this because DC fumbled so badly is they had the best. Well, no. Okay, let me figure out how to word this. I'm just going to scrap the whole thought. They didn't even realize they had one of the best casted Batmen of all time and was fantastic.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
What happened?
You cut out.
Oh, am I back?
Yeah. You
Sure.
got to one of the best casted Batman of all time, and then it cut out.
Oh, it's funny they cut out at that point because I said, and they surrounded him in shit.
You see,
They
DC
did.
have hacked
If you
into
go back
it.
and
They're censoring us.
Like, I'm telling you, if you go back and watch the Affleck performances and cut out the movies around them and just focus on his parts, they're fantastic.
See, that's the reason why. Back in the day, and there's proof on this channel that can be found very easily. When I said that Ben Affleck needed to play Batman, everybody looked at me like I had 3 heads. Laughing now.
Oh, I told everybody, and this is on this channel as well, that Ben Affleck's Batman would be better received than Jared Leto's Joker, and people thought I was insane.
You 100% said that. I remember it.
Now, it would have been a little more of a debate if we got Snyder cut Leto Joker, but we can't have nice things. This world sucks.
Correct. Yeah, I can tell already this is gonna be a fun show. And we do have a ton of questions. And I love that because that means that everybody cares enough to come here and throw us not regular QA questions, but questions that actually mean something to this channel. And kudos to all of you, 100%. Spencer continues. AJ, is there any 1-star movies or 2-star movies you would give a higher star amount?
I'm going ahead and including 1.5 in that.
We'll get there. That's coming up next, you know.
I looked around. There was no 1-star ones that would change. The closest thing was well, no, this will probably change. I did give 1 star to The Silence, but I did a whole video when I look back on The Silence where I did the verses for The Quiet Place.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of my criticisms were about the fact that it was a ripoff of A Quiet Place, and then I learned that The Silence was based on a book that was written before A Quiet Place.
Sure.
So I reviewed The Silence again with a new perspective, but A Quiet Place still just stomps it into the ground. So it wouldn't quite be 1 star because a lot of that came from how much I thought it was a ripoff, but it's still not a good movie.
Sure.
I gave 2 stars to Deep Water. We're going to bring Ben Affleck back into this conversation already. Deep Water was Adrian Lyne's first movie in 20 years. His last one was Unfaithful, and then he did Deep Water last year. And the movie immediately got a reputation for being, like, trashy and dated and all that stuff. And, like, a movie that would have been seen as bad if it came out in the 90s, let alone in 2022 when it did.
Sure.
But I've rewatched Deep Water. I came out of Deep Water positive because I was like, we haven't seen him in 20 years, and Adrian Lyne made such an Adrian Lyne movie. He has not missed a beat. And I love that. So I've actually rewatched it, and it's like, I genuinely enjoy the movie.
Sure.
For good reasons and bad reasons. So I'd probably bump that up a little bit. Notoriously, I think I gave Into the Woods 1.5.
Yep, yeah, you did.
Obviously, not only did that change, it sparked a whole fucking series on this channel.
That's right. Get there, don't worry.
Another one that I think I only gave 1.5 was Spike Lee's movie Chirac.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't rewatched Chirac yet, but so much of the imagery has stuck with me, and that was 2015. And the thing that threw me off the most about it was I thought the plot was too outlandish with the sex strike.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually only learned recently that it's based on a Greek play. It's just modernized. It's basically like a Lorman's Romeo and Juliet version of this Greek play. So, and with how much I love Spike Lee in general, that's something that I'd like to go back to and kind of embrace the craziness and the just how over the top it is.
The plot isn't Shaquille O'Neal roaming around Iraq.
It's the video game sequel to Shaq Fu. That's what you're thinking.
No, that already exists.
I was thinking prequel to Kazam.
Oh.
That's better because Shaq Fu 2 actually exists. So, but they haven't dared try to do a Kazam 2.
He also has tall boy energy drink beverages that I could never find anywhere. That were in blue, purple, yellow cans that said Shaq on them, had a picture of his face. Way before Sip and Snack was ever an option.
And a couple more I just have here real quick. I think this one was really hyped up, so that probably had something to do with why I didn't take to it as much. But I think I only gave 2 stars to Green Room.
Yeah.
And that's a movie that I remember. Remember a movie really vividly that I supposedly didn't like. I feel like it's because I know back to it. Because there's so many scenes in Green, not just the gory ones, but in the Patrick Stewart scenes especially. There's so many scenes in Green Room that I remember so vividly, and I haven't rewatched it since the theater. So I need to do that. And a movie that always comes back up, like, it's a movie I gave a negative review to, but every time I reference it, it's positive. And that's the Rhythm section with Blake Lively and Jude Law. Where, like, the rest of the movie sucks, but it has great action scenes. So it's like I keep going back to it in my head. So I was like, if I rewatch it, I wonder if the whole movie's worth rewatching, or if it's just the action scenes are so good they're making me think the movie's better than it is. I don't know, but I'm interested to go back and rewatch it.
Fair. Spencer asked, I have noticed over the years it takes a lot to get a 1-star rating from you, AJ. You give a lot of 1.5s. What do you think the major difference between 1 and 1.5 is?
That's actually pretty easy.
Yes.
If it's 1.5, there was some sort of redeeming quality in it. If I surely everybody here and everybody watching has watched a movie before that was so bad you literally felt like mad. Like you were genuinely mad. Like it kind of ruined your day.
And you know what it is, too. You know exactly what movie it is.
There's a ton of them.
No, there's one specific one I'm thinking off the top of my head right now.
But that's when I'm just like really, really mad at something and there's like not a single thing that I like about it. That's where it's just 1. And I feel like when you feel insulted by a movie.
Yep.
That's where the 1 comes in. So.
Well, it's like you bring up the whole fact of like you have something positive to say about a movie you disliked. I don't know why, but AJ knows where I know AJ knows where I'm going with this. Craig Robinson, horse-dick.mpeg, to this day is still stuck in my head, and that's the only thing I remember about that movie.
What's funny is Miss March,
one of my least favorite movies of that year, easily,
by Trevor Moore and Zach Kreger.
Yep.
The Whitest Kid You Know. One of those guys is not with us anymore, and the other guy is probably going to be the new Jordan Peele.
Yep.
Crazy.
It's 10 years, ladies and gentlemen. Longer than that. Spencer asked me, what was your favorite review or versus video you did with AJ? honestly, even though I got emotionally kicked in the nuts many times during it, I would have to say Gardens of the Town.
Not where I thought you were going.
No, that's the one that comes to my mind because it's like sometimes I don't have a good reason why I like something unless it's bias. And I feel like I took a beating in that video, but I still got my point across. And I was very worried how that video was going to go, and it actually went quite well. I also hold true to our Philip Seymour Hoffman tribute. That's one of my absolute favorite things we've ever done.
I don't want to put you down or anything.
It's fair.
But you said that you feel like the Guards of Elizabethtown video went well and you held your points up well enough.
Yeah, for the most part.
I think I've mentioned this before, but I would just like to be known. I'm sick in that video.
I know you are.
and I still stomped Elizabethtown into the ground.
It's Garden State. What do you expect? I'm the only person in this world that loves Elizabethtown. Unless you grew up in Kentucky.
What I thought you were
Park like I am.
What I thought you were gonna say was we had a lot of fun reviewing Wayne's World.
Oh God, yes, Wayne's World was wonderful. Not that horrible video that I should bury in the dirt somewhere that I did, where I basically was like talking about the movie, like doing quotes and everything, just cringe-worthy.
Yeah,
Me and AJ had fun reviewing the movie itself.
Yeah, it was a Wayne's World Bill and Ted versus.
Yep.
And that was a lot of fun.
When to this day, as the Bill and Ted excellent Halloween adventure guy and the Bill and Ted movie guy, I've still never seen a Bill and Ted movie. To this day.
And yeah, and brother, in that video I did make sure to mention that you and I use "yes, Pete, it is" in regular conversation. Like anytime one of us asks anytime one of us asks each other a question where the answer is yes, we will always say "yes, Pete, it is."
How many opportunities do we throw away growing up with Uncle Pete? Do you use that in its
my
context?
God. Wow. Least favorite.
We should be ashamed of ourselves.
Least favorite versus or review video I did with you, AJ.
Is this where you thought he would say Elizabethtown because you stomped it in the crowd?
I would probably say anytime that I felt conscious that I didn't get my point across, or I came off looking like an idiot because I didn't know what I was talking about. And that happened a lot. Because I'm very much, after the video's over, thinking, oh, this is horrible. And luckily, AJ is very understanding to how I deal with things, being my best friend for so many years, and basically reassuring me, oh, you're okay. You got your point across. It's fine. I'm like, I sounded like an idiot, didn't I?
Well, AJ is very hard to sway once he has his mind that something is the way it is.
Right.
I have spent 32 years trying and maybe have succeeded a handful of times. And one of those is LA Confidential.
Yes, but then finally on video we have my turnaround.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, but yes, that does go back to the fact that, like, I stress this. This was not long ago. This was like maybe just a few months ago. We were about to throw hands in a Mexican restaurant over Ryan Reynolds.
If it's where please God, tell me it's where I think it is, because if it is, that's even funnier. Because I only think of one Mexican restaurant when I think about location.
This one's like way out of town.
Crap. Because I'm imagining like the deco and everything, and you guys are about to fight. And...
What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking about Don's, actually.
Don's is dead. Don's is a car wash now.
Wow.
I'm dead serious.
I've been gone for 6 years. That's not surprising.
This is actually this was in like the last year.
Good Lord.
Yes, during COVID, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it was like kind of in the. I think it was in like the 2021 area. There were like whispers it was gonna die.
I remember right before I moved, the big thing around the area was we were finally getting a Popeyes, and we never got to go before I left. Popeyes is very expensive. I've learned that with using Uber Eats here.
Yeah, but it runs circles around KFC at this point.
Yeah.
Wrong. This is coming from a guy that goes to KFC every Thursday now. Because I can just walk there, spend the $13.09, and get as much Pepsi and Diet Pepsi mix as I can drink.
No, Adam Sandler called it in, what was it? Was it 2000 that Little Nicky came out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Popeye's chicken is fucking awesome. It's an immortal movie line now.
Yeah, that's one that aged very well.
Well, don't forget there's a line that exists in another movie. The Chick-fil-A is effing delicious. So there you go.
Observe and report. That's Aziz.
Yes, it is. 100%. Another person.
That is true as well.
He's on my comedian's bucket list. I'm slowly but surely enjoying the fact that I live in a bigger city now, and I'm ticking those off one by one.
Chick-fil-A, though, like, I never crave Chick-fil-A unless it's Sunday.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. Everybody
Like,
says.
I have no interest in Chick-fil-A until Sunday comes, and I'm like, man, I would love a Chick-fil-A sandwich. No go.
Chick-fil-A was best for me when it was cheap nuggets that were associated with bacon fries from across the way at the mall. Because bacon fries in the mall, and bacon fries exist to this day. I don't know if we've ever talked about them on here before. I'm sure we have. If you were curious, bacon fries don't have a video on this channel. They never will. But it is literally French fries covered in bacon and barbecue sauce, and that's it. Usually spiced heavily. I don't like cheese. I only like cheese in a certain way. Like, it's good on pizza. It's good on scalloped potatoes.
I love how much we're living up to the buildup of this conversation's going to go everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, because
Really?
now I'm craving the Polynesian sauce. Now I just really need that.
Honestly, the Chick-fil-A barbecue sauce is really good with nacho chips. I learned that during snack breaks. When I would make a little visitation during my snack breaks, I would go and we'd have nacho chips left over, and I'd go get barbecue sauce from Chick-fil-A. Or I'd have it left over from food, because I would actually buy food back in those days. And then I would use it to dip for the first time, and I was like, ooh, this is awesome. Let's keep doing this.
I had some pretty good barbecue nachos the last time I was at the Planet Hollywood.
God, they've gone downhill so bad.
I imagine.
But I will say their chicken crunch is still unbeatable, and it sucks that their service is so bad that I can't justify going there, and it's too expensive. But their chicken strips, deep fried and Captain Crunch batter, just still a fantastic appetizer that I'd love to be able to have more often if it were possible. Ashley, Spencer has a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know the answer to this, but I want it documented on the actual show. Where did the donkey from headphones come from? I don't remember you talking about the origin.
I'm trying to remember whether it would have been December or January. I think for that season we did our predictions for the fall 23 on New Year's Eve, I think. So
That sounds right.
Because obviously it like switched to sort of like, I think at that point we were like wanting to do it before the Golden Globes, when it then just changed to try and get it as close to the window as you can, so it made us a bit more accurate. So obviously by then the shortlists are out for some of the categories, including live action short, and there was a film on that list, which eventually actually made it in to the
Yes,
actual,
it did.
The actual nomination list, called Nesta Football Club.
Yep.
And because I was trying to see how many of these were sort of online or trailers were online or something, and I think to try and push it for consideration, they put it up on Vimeo and whatever. Because I tried looking earlier, just before we started, because I saw the question came in, and it's privated, and I can't find it anywhere. I should have downloaded it. Then again, I've actually just purchased like the shorts collection on Amazon just so I can actually say that I own it, because it seems to have disappeared everywhere else off the internet. But it just starts with this like sort of landscape Lord of the Rings style of the desert and the sort of mountain range, and then all of a sudden you hear just like this slight clopping, and suddenly walking through shot is a donkey, but not just any donkey. He's got Beats by Dr. Dre headphones on. And then when I looked into the actual story, even before having seen the shot, because all it says in sort of like Wikipedia and everything is that it's a donkey. But yeah, it's just these two kids that are playing football on their sort of not great pitch, and a donkey just comes riding into town or whatever, apparently with these headphones on, that's got bags of white powder in his like satchel thing.
Right.
Which is obviously, you know, the cock. And then it's sort of like just hijinks and stuff from that, but it all resolved from the donkey with the Dr. Dre headphones on. And because I always try and look for like something from the season, like how 2021 Sal. I'm trying to think.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2020.
Oh no, that would have been 2020.
That would have been the same
20.
year, yeah. I can't remember what last year's. I think 2020 as well was also where the lizard from the BAFTA winning short film showed up from as well.
Yep. I just have to say, you know when people go into those people that go in a movie and they've read the book and they know where all the turns are. That's what I felt like just now when he was doing the build up, and he said, and that's when the short list came out, and one of the short lists that came out was live action short, and in my head I'm going, here it comes.
Dude, see the best part is someone on this panel actually saw that in the theater, and that was me. Because I
the
watched
great thing is,
Dead Shorts live action live.
And the great thing is, of course, when Owen watched it, as soon as the donkey with headphones came out, he basically became what he hated with the film that we can't mention, with like, you know, the one that goes EEAAO.
Yep.
He was the one that was, everybody else probably in the theater was going, what the fuck is this guy on?
It wasn't loud, but I did pop for it. And I was me and about 4 other people in that theater, and they looked like I had just shot the deputy or something.
But
and it was
it's not an odd thing to laugh at.
No, it's not.
even with the
backstory. I'm so proud I got to see that live in a theater. That was best.
I just hope
I'll never
one
get
of
that
those
again. I don't know. It depends.
I'm just hoping one of those 4 people was like, he's laughing because they're not ear pods.
God. All right. So Spencer asks, my favorite thing to watch is Owen and AJ hating on Melissa McCarthy. Yeah, like you do. What
Poor unfortunate
three
soul.
films of hers were the worst reviews for?
This was difficult because there's so many.
Yes, and we've
But
done for a lot of them.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Also, is a lot of her movies now go in one ear and out the other, like Thunder Force and Super Intelligent stuff like that. Like I see those, I review those, I bash them, and then they're gone.
Yeah, of course.
But some have stuck because they were that bad. Like another one that comes to mind is Life of the Party, the one where she goes to college, her daughter. I remember hating to its very core. Now I couldn't tell you a thing that happens in it.
Just the concept's bad enough.
So the three that really stuck, in really no particular order, are Identity Thief, The Boss, and Tammy.
Yep, 100%.
I think that's the bottom of the... Well, I guess the bottom of the barrel are the ones that are so bad I just forgot them entirely, but those are the ones that were bad enough that they stuck.
Well, there's the bottom of the barrel is the review that doesn't exist on the channel. It was before we started.
There's a couple of those, actually.
There's one specifically, though.
I looked up her filmography. There's some stuff I forgot she was in.
Part of me wondered whether Can You Ever Forgive Me was like a hard one to do as well, because it's like, wait, she's actually doing something good.
The most jarring one was How Good Spy was.
Yeah.
I like
was as I thought it was going to be.
I liked Spy more than I liked Can You Ever Forgive Me?
God dang. Them fighting words, the right people.
Rose Byrne has a lot to do with why Spy is so good as well.
Rose Byrne is the reason why Spy is good.
And Jason Statham, of course.
Oh, God, yeah, of course.
Jason Statham crushed it in Spy.
So, Spencer asked a question for the entire panel. Your favorite award season coverage and least favorite, most fun you had this season and least. I will never, ever, ever forget getting trampled when American Hustle won absolutely nothing. And loving the daylights out of Ray doing so well. And Crash. Crash is the biggest one I'll ever have. I'll never have that happen again.
I was going to say, are we talking about award seasons we've done on the channel or in general?
I have a feeling, based on the question, it's probably ones we've done on this channel.
All right, because it's not channel, but one of my least favorite Oscar years were... Actually, two of my least favorite Oscar years were 2008 and 2011. Those were bummers. The one, an absolute joy, because so many worthy movies... Like, 6 of the 10 picture nominees, or 6 of the 9 picture nominees were in my top 10. And it was fun to discuss these. It was a great season. There was a lot of great winners. The 2019 season where Parasite won.
Yeah, that was a great.
It was a great season. It was a great ceremony. That's probably one of the best Oscar ceremonies I've ever seen. So yeah, definitely 2019 is a very high bar, I think.
I'm gonna set another one that I feel like was good for you. I remember you being outright giddy that The Departed was kicking ass all through 2006. Yep.
Yeah,
giddy is the only word I can think of.
Yeah, it was also the 1-2 punch of the next year. 2007 was a great year too. But yeah, like The Departed winning picture, like at the time, was the best thing that had ever happened to me.
For you, that was your team winning the Super Bowl in home stadium for other people.
Yeah, and like even in retrospect, when you think about the fact that it's a movie that's in like my top 5 movies of all time.
Yeah.
And I was there. I was like, my DVD that I have of it, I had before it won picture. Like I got to like see the whole journey that it took, and that's a great answer. It was also interesting to feel the shock in real time of Arkin beating Eddie Murphy. That was wild.
Yeah, because I was really big into Dreamgirls in that performance.
I kind of look back on that year with a little bit of sad nostalgia, because knowing what I know now, that's Jack's last Oscar race.
Yeah.
And he pretty much gave it away.
But what a fucking cool way to go out announcing your own movie as Best Picture. That's such a Jack move.
So this is getting ahead of ourselves, and I'll to this out of because it actually fits the conversation a little bit better. Brian brought out some inside jokes we had for the season. 2013 was Shout from Please Man It inside Llewyn Davis.
That's still one of the best Coen Brothers scenes, and that's a fucking high bar.
Obviously, we have 2014, Mark. 2015, Would It Help?
Yeah.
2017, Everyone! Of course, 2018.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to remember that was when Owen was sweeping. That's why.
Yeah.
Hey, Ashley, what's 2018?
Sam Rockwell.
Oh,
on, Ashley.
Hot damn! Hang on. Where's the fucking? There it is. Immortalized.
So Ashley, what does the tornado actually sound like?
Yeah.
Donkey with Headphones 2019, Sowl for 2020, and honorable mentions. I Am the Captain Now and On Earth. I love this show. So, question Spencer has for me. You talk about movies like The Hand That Rocks the Cradle affecting you personally. What do you mean by that? You don't have to answer if you feel uncomfortable. No, I will answer. So my dad had just started dating who became my stepmom. And they were watching a movie in the living room. And they were watching The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. And I don't know why. But it was like when I was watching that movie, or like when I had like the eerie sound and everything, and I was kind of like peeking behind the couch and everything like that. It was just a really weird and random time. And it's just like I was freaked out to the point that my dad literally had to take me back to his house, which was about 40 minutes away, because I was uncomfortable. I don't know what it was. It was just, we had to go from literally one state to another because, I mean, where I lived at the time was in one state, and where my stepmom lived was in another state, which is right next to each other, but still. It was weird. It made me uncomfortable. I don't know why. It's just something. And it was one of those things like I would like get terrified about. I don't know why. I can't explain why. Like we talked about Candyman and Dr. Giggles and all the weird horror movies that freaked me out when I was a kid. Weird dream about being like driving in a NASCAR and like seeing the leprechaun on playing cards or something like that, and my head getting knocked off. I don't know. Random stuff back when I was a kid. So yeah, that was just like really weird, bizarre things that I would imagine when I was growing up. So that was just a strange thing. Hope I don't have that in dream now. Anyway.
Yeah,
AJ,
The Hand That Rocks the Cradle got a Versus a couple of years ago. I think it was Single White Female.
Yep, correct.
And I remember thinking, like, man, we really should have done this when you were still here.
I'm peeking over my shoulder now. It's fine. Redface will be behind me before too long. You talked about having a grainy VHS for The Exorcist. Can you physically show it?
Is it? I'm wondering if he's talking about. I remember saying that for the Ninth Configuration, but I'm holding it in that video. But maybe I did. Actually, I do have a VHS of The Exorcist somewhere, so I might have mentioned it in that video. But I don't have it on. It's buried somewhere. But what I'm actually doing right now, it's funny this comes up. I am desperately for a copy of The Exorcist that is not the director's cut, and I can't fucking find it. It's got a digibook that has both versions in it, and it's fucking out of stock on Amazon right now.
Interesting. Try eBay.
I'm not sure, because I've got a DVD of it director's cut. When we saw it at the theater, we went to an art house theater. There was a feature of The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby.
Yes, we did.
I asked the guy at the fucking counter, "Is this the director's cut?" And he said, I wouldn't think it would be. And I think I even said to him, "Yeah, I think that as well. You would think it wouldn't be." But like I said, with The Exorcist, you can tell by the first shot if it's the director's cut or not. And the first shot came up, and it's like, fuck, we're going to be late for Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah,
and I'm going to have to do the fucking crab walk in a theater. That's great. Everybody thinks the crab walk is so cheesy and stupid. No, the crab walk fucking fucked me up. But yeah, I cannot find a regular version of The Exorcist anywhere.
The crab walk was also utilized in the house that we did for Halloween Horror Nights 26 as well.
And I don't think I had this. That VHS he's talking about that I have, pretty positive, is the director's cut.
Interesting.
Why? And I don't get that. Like, why? Like, there's director's cuts that aren't good, but director's cuts are like always what's pushed, especially when it's bad versions. Like, you can't find. It's hard to find a copy of Bad Santa that's not the director's cut.
Really?
Or whatever cut you call that.
Interesting.
And it's, yeah, I don't know.
So this is interesting, AJ. And if you wanna give everybody a little peek behind the curtain to what something that's coming in the future, you can. If not, you can keep it hidden and just answer the question. Have you revisited the first review? And have
shit.
your opinions changed?
I haven't done that, but there's something I totally forgot to mention.
Go ahead.
When he asked about, is there stuff even like 2 stars or something that I would bump up?
Oh, okay.
I'm working on a segment right now for September where we're going to have like 7 or 8 videos where I go back to movies that I feel like I didn't praise enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm cutting it with footage, the old footage, and it'll be new footage of me giving the movie praise where I kind of fell short and kind of correcting myself from previous stuff. So there's like 1 or 2 2-star movies I think I'm doing with that.
Huh.
So, and I didn't mention those, so that'll happen as well. But no, I haven't gone back to the first video.
So I have a feeling that'll probably be, again, 10 years to the day, going to be the 3rd of the month. So 2 days from now is the first AJ's movie reviews we've had in a while. 10 years later, and he gets to talk about one of my favorite movies of the year, clearly one of his favorite movies of the year, something else as well.
Yeah.
Good way to put it. One of the favorite reviews of Spencer Reed is the review that AJ and myself did of Planes, Fire, and Rescue. He loves the banter. One thing I miss is hearing Owen in the background of movie review videos. I like being a talking head. It was fun. I was like sitting behind the camera, like.
It's a lot easier to review stuff when you're talking to somebody.
Oh yeah, totally. That's a good way to put it. There's really no reason to elaborate anymore. We've had some interesting conversations, interesting banter back and forth. It's always good when we fight, like the Siskel and Ebert thing.
Yeah, that's why I significantly prefer doing videos with my brother than myself.
Makes sense. So, what Versus videos are you most proud of, AJ?
Yeah, brother, I wanted you to get in on this question also because not only have we done a fair amount of Versus, but there was a time during lockdown where me and you did a Versus like every week.
Mm-hmm.
And it might shock you to know this, Spencer, because I keep saying, oh man, Versus is really shit. Like, I'm really bad at my job. I was going through and I've made a pretty decent sized list here of Versus I'm actually proud of.
Interesting.
The one I always point out is the Gus Van Sant trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
That might be like the best video I've done. One both view-wise and feedback, and I guess you could say quality of the video, the Willy Wonka versus.
I figured
has been. I think that was the most. The Boys on the Menace to Society one went really well.
Got a huge.
And I was nervous about that one. So I think the ones I'm most nervous to do usually end up actually coming out the best.
Yeah.
Tombstone and Wyatt Earp went over really well. Goodfellas and Casino.
Still
one that just kind of. Yeah, one that just kind of went off and nobody I don't think anybody even knows I did it. I remember walking away from Cape Fear versus the Night of the Hunter being pleased.
Got brought up recently too.
And usually I say don't go back to the old videos, especially the ones where we first started, because they're all trash. And I had no idea what I was doing. One of the very first verses we did actually is one where I remember doing that video. I remember like, oh, that actually, I think we covered it very well. Billy Madison versus Happy Gilmore.
Yep.
I don't mind. I remember thinking the Snow White versus Sleeping Beauty one went well when we did the 2 animated ones.
Yep.
Another one I was surprised went as well as it did was Requiem for a Dream versus Trainspotting. We got some really good feedback on that one. I wrote down American Gangster and New Jack City. I don't remember. I love American Gangster, but I don't really remember what I said. I do remember being really happy to talk about New Jack City and gush about it.
I know one.
What's that?
I know one that always has. There's 2 that have always surprised me like greatly. The one obviously we jumped to immediately is probably one of the most popular verses we've ever done, and I still can't understand why. Toy Story 3 and the Brave Little Toaster.
That one makes sense. The popularity of another one makes no sense.
We're talking about Open Your Eyes and Vanilla Sky.
Yeah, where did that come from? There's also one I'm not pleased with that has like 1.5 thousand views. I don't know why. That's going to be covered in my revisiting stuff in September.
Nice. Very cool.
Also, Apocalypse Now and the Deer Hunter I thought went really well. I was really happy with that one. The Lion King versus the Jungle Book I thought went over well, because that's the first time I'd really talked about the Lion King at length.
Yep.
The Grinch and the Cat in the Hat I thought went fine. We got some really good feedback on the Interview with the Vampire versus.
Yep.
And one that I'm especially proud of because it was 2 movies I had to defend, and personally I felt like I did that quite well. I was really pleased with how Alien 3 Alien Resurrection came out.
Yep.
And of course, I think it's under versus technically, but it's not really a versus. My favorite video on this channel is when me and my brother did the Bond franchise.
I like your Batman video too.
Yes.
Definitely holds up.
There's another one we did. It was during the lockdown era, but before I mention that one, brother, do you remember any ones that we did that you liked how they turned out?
The Bond one was good. Let's see. I'm trying to remember everything that we've done. We did a lot there during lockdown. I think at one point we were doing 2 a week.
Yeah. Well, the more I think about it, the more come to mind.
I liked our View Askew video we did.
Yeah, the one that was not planned at all. The one that was completely on the fly.
Yeah.
The ones, I guess, the more I think about them, I actually really loved our lockdown period. We did some good shit in there.
Yeah, I felt that I wasn't working.
Yeah, I loved the first one that comes to mind is I loved when we did Tommy Boy and Black Sheep. I loved when we did the Honey I Shrunk the Kids trilogy. Because Honey I Blew Up the Kid especially had tangents galore. I loved our video on the Great Outdoors. Because I always forget how good that movie is.
can't even remember. What did we do the Great Outdoors with?
RV.
That's right.
And I liked our Norm. We did a Norm Macdonald video before we lost him. We did Dirty Work versus Screwed.
Yeah.
You know, I let that in before, so it didn't look like it was because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a versus golden age, and I don't know how many people were around for it.
See, the great thing about Versus is that it lives on in playlists, and we found out real quick that a lot of our stuff is not live material. It's way after the fact. People will find Versus videos and review videos years down the line, and they comment on them, and then it's like, well, that's interesting. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I always say how baffled I am that this happened this way, but looking back, I stand by my Super Bad versus Porky's video that for some reason is over an hour long. Because 45 minutes of that is just Super Bad.
Yeah.
And on the Super Bad front, also we also did during the lockdown. We also did Pineapple Express and Grandma's Boy as a versus. That was fun. We really went in on how good Pineapple Express. Pineapple Express is so fucking good.
I am most proud of the Pacific Heights versus. This is from Spencer. I won. And the Frailty and Fallen verses.
Zero One surprises me because I felt like that one was like kind of last minute.
Yeah, it was. And I know your answer on this one. Actually, maybe I don't, because you don't like rewatching stuff after you've done it, unless you absolutely have to. Do you have a favorite video that you've rewatched the most?
Unless I'm doing the thing I'm doing now where I'm like editing them into another video, I try not to go back to them.
Ashley, you have anything?
And real quick.
Go ahead, AJ.
Go ahead, AJ.
I'm trying to think.
Sorry, Ashley.
Also, any verses in the last year or two, I was pretty happy with. I feel like almost 10 years in, I feel like I finally cracked verses.
You hit your stride. Yeah.
But because I was saying also, if I could go back in time, I would rename verses. When we were doing most of verses in history is me talking about one movie and then me talking about another without really doing comparison.
Yep.
And I've been saying if I could go back, I would call the segment double feature instead of verses.
That was an original concept idea that we made in Athens when we were coming up with the idea of verses, that we would call it double feature, but we settled on the name verses instead because it fit the fact that we were doing categories back then.
In the last year, I actually have been doing the versus thing where it's going back and forth and comparing, and I feel like that's fun. I finally found it this late in the game.
It makes sense. Ashley, what video do you rewatch, if any?
The one that comes to mind that I've at least rewatched a few times is the one that AJ and Chris did with the James Bond stuff, because that's my shit as well.
That's cool.
But weirdly,
I'm the only one that's got a Bond mark in this group, I guess.
The most recent one would be it's probably only been rewatched twice, but again, I don't really want to try and rewatch stuff. I have rewatched the Golden Globe stream from 2 years ago. No, from last year. Where it's just...
When I was in California?
I think, yeah, you were in California. So it was me and AJ reacting to a fucking Twitter feed. And somehow I've got to try and make it exciting that we're just waiting on a Twitter feed to update so we find out who won these events, because they wouldn't get televised because they would twat.
Yep, I remember that.
Because I find it fascinating
Chris,
how I managed
you've
to
done
do
that
it.
you've rewatched? Yeah.
No,
Chris,
I don't even rewatch the stuff on my wrestling channel. I don't like
I
the
think-
sound of my own voice, and I don't like how I look on camera.
I guess I'm the vain one in this group. That's
Yeah, it
probably
was just
not
that you did say you did say you went back and watched the Friday Night Lights video, but that makes sense because you weren't in it.
Yeah, I went back and I watched like the movie clubs that I missed from the Jericho cruise, and there was another one that I missed that I went back and watched as well.
Most of the stuff I do like sound and voice. I won't lie about that. And after going back in history in 10 years and seeing what I have become now versus what I used to be, yeah, it feels good watching some of the old stuff because it's interesting to see what I said back on this channel so long ago, where we started, where I just was ripping off another YouTuber for a while, and then we really developed a style of our own. The names have changed obviously throughout time, but I love watching the Horror Nights videos. Those were always fun. Obviously can't do that for myriad of reasons now, but I miss being able to talk Halloween Horror Nights for 7 hours and be able to retain a full audience throughout the entire show. That was some of the golden days of Popcast Network back when we were just basically talking about wrestling and Horror Nights, theme parks in general. We had the movie reviews, and then Ashley came on to do gaming. And then we had we had various things. We had a nice little niche of everything all together. And we don't talk about most of that stuff anymore because of whatever reason. Obviously, we can't in some cases. But yeah, it was fun. I liked rewatching some of the old like Cryptic Clue videos, like the old Dr. Jimmy videos, because I started this because of Dr. Jimmy and because of the Tim Tracker. And it's just like, honestly, at the end of the day, it's like, it's nice going back to where you began, where you started. I rewatched the Welcome to My World video, the first video we ever put on this channel. I went back and watched the stuff we did in Pop for the first time, all the Will stuff. I've watched the Mr. Flashback stuff before. I mean, God, we really, really ripped off the Nostalgia Critic. Oh my God. Everything down. It was crazy. But that was fun back in the day. And we've had so many great moments on this channel that I have gone back. Of course, obviously the Voices content. I've rewatched all those. Duh. Like anything we've done, water parks, anything we've done with music, I've rewatched that. But I mean, when it comes to my own content, like, yeah, some of the old stuff, it's nice to see where we have come for so long. And like, AJ has talked about reviews that I was curious about, and he would tell me that, oh, I like this, this, and this. And I was like, okay, fine. So when I do one of the walks, instead of listening to the Major Wrestling Figure podcast or listening to Water Parks on Spotify, what I would do is I would literally listen to the YouTube videos, and something that I enjoyed, like the Batman that you and Chris did. That was enjoyable. Those were great. Some of the wrestling videos we've done on here, some unbelievable stuff. Ashley said some very bizarre things on this channel before during those wrestling podcasts. And those things they were the cornerstone of this channel for quite a while. So yeah, it's interesting to see where we've come in such a weirdly enough short yet long amount of time. Favorite series outside of reviews and verses? Spencer loves Speaking Bluntly, one of the most popular segments on the history of this channel. The Stephen King series.
Stephen King series was fun, yeah.
I like Summer of Tarantino. I wish we could have redone it, though.
Me and my brother have been very slowly redoing each movie.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Like I said, I love talking Horror Nights. I really enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed the wrestling podcasts when they were fun. Back when it was fun.
When the fog didn't.
The Stephen King short.
I don't mean Stephen King's I don't mean John Carpenter's The Fog. I mean, if you know, you know.
The Stephen King short story series actually going to be resurrected when The Boogeyman comes out.
That's right.
And the novella one was just resurrected last year with Mr. Harrigan's Phone.
We did We did the John Hurt series, the Hurtin' for the '80s, which came out.
Yeah.
I don't.
William Hurt.
William Hurt. You knew I was. It's okay.
That was good. I like that. That wasn't a popular one, but I really liked going back and revisiting those movies and seeing how fucking massive he was in the '80s.
Yeah. We have anybody have any special series they like? Ashley.
Tarantino
Ashley has
one.
taken Sip and Snack to a different level in the UK, and we're doing Snack now.
I mean, yeah. The fascinating with that is I haven't yet found. There's been like one or two things where I've gone, that's bad. Whether it's just me judging like this is something I'll probably enjoy. Let's see.
Yep.
When I should be more jumping in the deep end
My
and
rule.
doing. Here's something that I absolutely hate, or I probably will hate, and then it's like a waste of money. So it's like I get no enjoyment out of it. And considering how little views sort of my stuff sort of gets on the channel, because I get very little comments, it's like there isn't much point. I put it there as sort of content, so it might as well be something that I enjoy rather than talk to myself and sort of get little to no payback for it. Well, not payback, but you know, reception for it and everything.
Chris, do you have one? Any segments you like on the channel?
I like the there's a kind of very early precursor to this, but I like the Q&A video that AJ did where he just kind of went through the comments and answered questions.
That was irritating because we have been teasing that video for literal years. And one day AJ's like, okay, put your money where your mouth is. We're gonna go through everything and you're just gonna answer all these questions. And AJ's response, this was way before QA was a thing on this channel. And it's just like this. Some of his responses are priceless. If you haven't heard, if you going back to check out the video,
I was not intimidated in the way I expected to be. I was intimidated because there was a lot of positivity.
Yeah, totally.
And like I said, I'm horrible at responding to compliments, and that's what most of the video is.
I mean, no offense to anybody on the panel or has ever have been on this channel before, you by a huge margin get the most compliments of anybody on this channel easily.
And I had to correct all those people that brought up the same problem with the Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels thing. Yes, Roy breaks Guy on fire. I know now. For God's sake.
Spencer has one more question that was that you know of, and then we're going into unknown territory.
Yeah, that's all the stuff I was given beforehand. So now we're
unknown territory.
Free fall.
Literally and figuratively. I used to love AJ giving 15 obscure movies no one has ever heard of. Any way of bringing that segment back?
We were gonna do one like right after that first one. But I was telling Owen that if I made that list now, it'd probably just be a movie club list.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel
Brian
that,
mentions his favorite AJ review was Sponge Out of Water.
I feel many of the stuff I have lined up for movie club is going to be one of those that makes it onto AJ's list, hopefully.
And his favorite verses is the Wonka verses.
Yes.
Josie asked if we've done a versus of live action versus animated for 101 Dalmatians.
101 Dalmatians does have a versus planned for September.
It does.
But it's not the live action one. It's the animated 101 Dalmatians with another movie.
So we'll get to that.
Should I just say it? It's not like it's a big secret.
Go ahead.
I'm going to do 101 Dalmatians and the Aristocats.
Yes. So, real quick, Josie chimes in, reading The Samurai's Garden by Gail Tsukuyama. Has read Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume, which, of course, she got to watch recently, which I'll be watching it this weekend. Tom's Midnight Garden by Philip Pierce and Larry's The Sundowners. It's a really good book so far, is The Samurai's Garden. Josie asked if you can ask book questions.
You might as well.
You can try.
Ains, yes. You can try like that. First time watches since last. The Man from Snowy River, Great Waldo Pepper Explorers, The In-Law. In-Laws Take a Shot. Summer Rental, Johnny Corncob, Manhunter, Troy, City of Lost Children. Interesting. A little bit of regular Q&A pops in every once in a while. That's fair. No worries. Brian asked, the question is, how did you come up with the name Popcast Network? Well, pretty easy. 2013, when we started here on May 1st, we were called Pop. And we were not podcasters, we were popcasters. And I thought that if we were going to do daily content and very, very daily content from a myriad of different people, we might as well be a network. So we became the Popcast Network. I created business cards with a pink and blue logo, and we were off to the races. That logo is still available on this channel to this day. That was designed by one of the Horror Nights updaters, Aaron.
I feel like there might have been a moment I know this is in your memory. I feel like there was a moment in the very first video where I told you I hated the name.
You did?
Okay.
So, given the fact that it is the best movie of 2023 right now, inadvertently, we just talked about Air. But it's reversed. Josie asked, what is the name of your guys' local libraries?
I don't want to say that because they're literally the name of the city.
It's a literal library in the place that we used to live.
Yeah, there's no creative names or anything.
I don't know of any around here, actually. I think there's like an Orlando library somewhere. I don't think it's called that because that's just too basic, but Orlando Public Library or something maybe.
I'd know if I went to the library.
I don't either because I don't drive. So
from where I am, it's sort of like a 20-25 minute drive, and the parking's already expensive as it is. If you're going to see sort of a movie, you can sort of warrant it and everything. I don't even know whether I'm eligible for a library card. It's probably like Uber. I live so far away from like Uber orders that every time I go on these things and it says order via, Uber Eats or Deliveroo or any of the other services, it's like, oh, sorry, we don't serve your area. Then why have the fucking option? You have my postcode. Yeah. You know I'm not eligible. Why keep giving me all this stuff?
Yeah, we have a delivery service around this area that does like the grocery gimmick. I think it's called Shipped, maybe. And Tim was telling me was going to give me a code so I could be able to use it. And I typed my address in. It's like, nope, it's not in your area. I was like, well, that's why I can't get Long John Silver's anymore.
Most of the reason I'm so well read is either one, I get the books for free from Amazon, or two, I get the 99p deal of a day books and just read them. It's easier. Probably cheaper than the fuel.
Brother,
and the
did you have any
parking
cool library names?
What?
Did you have any cool library names, or are they just basic?
Universities isn't, but I don't remember what.
I think it's insert something county library. That's what I remember. That's the only thing I can remember of that back in the day. Grocery store chains around you.
That's an interesting question.
We have outside of like Walmart and Target where we're at, we have Kroger and Giant Eagle.
I've got Publix. We have Kroger that's delivered, but we don't have an actual Kroger store around here.
I'm so jealous you have Publix.
Publix is great.
Their sandwiches are great.
Pub subs are like basically you forward to the people that live here, and that's a shoot.
They are.
I don't care.
So jealous you have Publix.
Chicken strips are good. We have Sheets. We don't have Sheets. Take a shot. We have Wawa, which is kind of like Sheets, but not exactly.
You got Wawa all the way down there?
Heck yeah, we do.
Damn, I'm jealous of that too. My closest Wawa's like 4 hours away.
We got like the normal stuff like Speedway and like
Were these both Josie questions? Obviously, the library was. Was this a Josie question too?
Yeah.
These are all Josie questions right now.
It's funny that she asked those consecutively because we have a Piggly Wiggly right next door to the library.
Piggly Wiggly's new. That's something definitely new from when I left.
Piggly Wiggly is where Foodland used to be.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I guess technically the mobile library drives around and parks close to the village shop when it shows up. So, but other than that, like the shops that I go to are sort of the usual suspects. But it's like the whole range. I go from the cheap shops like Lidl and Aldi right up to sort of the quote unquote fancy shops like Sainsbury's and Waitrose. I shop around, try and get the yellow the yellows. Okay, so I was just panicking, but the YouTube said no signal for a few seconds. It's back. Don't worry.
This chat is you can definitely tell that everybody that's in here tonight has done their homework, because I've got some interesting questions coming up from Parsnip Burger, and that's the reason why I was laughing. So Josie asked me specifically if I ever had to do first aid or get mosquito bites at the parks. No, I know how to do CPR. I've never had to, thankfully. That was many years ago, so I'm definitely way out of practice. And no, I don't believe I've gotten any mosquito bites. I don't think I've been stung by any bees. Luckily, at the end of the day, when I'm outside, I don't really have that option. The only thing I really would have to worry about is getting sunburnt, so it's not that big of a deal. Of the fake movies we've pitched, the procedural noir with Zoe Saldana, Michael Wincott, Tony Shalhoub, the time travel movie with Michael Cera, Zoe Kravitz, and Daniel Stern are favorites of Josie, and she says a new-ish date night with a movie with Bruce Campbell and Gene Triplehorn. Okay, Brian asked what my favorite all-time sipping snack is. I know what the viewers is, but that's not my answer. Sipping snack literally almost killed me. That's a shoot, 100%. Uncooked scalloped potatoes, not your friend.
Ooh.
Not your friend at all. Honestly, favorite sipping snacks, stuff from my childhood. Surge, Crystal Pepsi, things that I remember drinking and consuming when I was a kid. Dunkaroos were something I really enjoyed. Anything Surge related, I always cling to. I love Pepsi. Obviously, you know that. So I mean, and really, it's even though it's not a sipping snack, people always give me flack for Ultimate Pizza. Ultimate Pizza, as Chris knows, used to be a cornerstone of my dining experiences back in the day.
Yeah.
And it will never, ever be done again on this channel. Because there's so many things you have to do that I don't have access to anymore. The garlic, salt, pepper, California-style seasoning salt doesn't exist anymore. And it's not easy to get leftover mashed potatoes that I can put in the center of it. AJ, what food would you want after seeing a review of mine? That's Brian's second question.
Well, I've never found watching you eat appetizing.
That's understandable. No one should.
I'm trying to think of the stuff you've mentioned.
Oh, the fact that I was like, oh, I just did this video the other day, and you're like, ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, probably one of like the sweet things.
Yeah,
but I can't think off the top of my head of what they would be. The one that really shocked me was the big peanut butter cups with chips in them.
Oh yeah.
But I actually tried that before we talked about it.
Mm-hmm. They're good.
I cannot believe that worked.
Milky Way with cookie dough, that combination is literally like my dream candy bar. The only thing missing from it is like a layer of peanut butter over top of it. It works so well, but the problem is I wanted it to work so much better than it did, and that sucked. Josie says, I'll never forget when I mentioned Jack and the Giant Slayer was playing on television in the laundromat. AJ's response, that's where it belongs.
I don't remember saying that, but the very first thing that popped in my head when you said it again was that's where it belongs.
Hi, Cassie. Says, happy anniversary to this awesome network. We appreciate you, Cassie. Thank you for popping in. We're not trying to make that a ha-ha for saying it that way. It's just, you do come in like midway through the show, and we appreciate you checking out the content. Because I know you've been here since Horror Nights days. So. Like when Chris brought up the scenario of Wayne Szalinski blowing up Elle Wood's dog Bruiser, and he would win the Nobel Prize over Alan Grant and Indiana Jones.
Why don't I remember this?
These are Josie comments. 10 years, man. Seriously.
We've had a lot of Wayne Szalinski conversations. I don't remember him ever blowing up Bruiser.
It was several weeks ago. I would like to see a sex book with all of them, says Josie. Brian asked if I ever went back to West Virginia, what video would AJ and I do, and what would be AJ's reaction, how different I am.
I feel like we've had this conversation, but I don't remember.
Most of the verses that AJ has done, like a lot of the stuff AJ's done with Chris, is probably something we would have done back in the day. Not all of them, but there's a lot that Chris covered that I would have if I was still there.
We did just mention I felt like it would have been great if you were here for the Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
AJ, what would be your reaction to how different I am?
I would basically be concerned with my own physicality. Where it'd be like, am I gonna be the big one? It's like, is that what we're doing?
Oh my god.
I need to start running or some shit.
Yeah. The heart wants what it wants, good sir. Literally and figuratively. Oh, take a shot. There we go. Owen always reminding everyone that I know what I'm talking about because I work at a library. Very true. How many Emily Blunt pictures do you have, AJ? Says Brian.
There's these two, and the A Quiet Place one is rolled up over there.
Don't you also have one for Jungle Cruise?
I almost bought one, and then I didn't. I almost bought one that had the wrong release date on it, which would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Because remember it kept getting pushed. And I wanted to get on for A Quiet Place 2, but all of the available ones didn't have her on them. Like, it had her distant silhouette. And it was like, well, I don't know. So yeah, I think that might be it.
Oh, man. Somebody did their homework, my friend. Parsnip Burger, I'm shouting you out for some of the stuff you're about to ask in a few minutes. Cassie says, shout out to the Halloween Horror Nights podcast, especially the one that went on for 7 hours that one time. Yeah, I remember the Elite very well. Those were fun times, 100%. So was Popcast Network and the Horror Night Updaters. Oddly enough, most of us became characters. How appropriate. So yeah, we talked about it for so long, we actually started doing it as a job. Who knew? AJ, is the room you're in just nothing but posters and home media shelves? Says Brian.
Well, there's this shelf, and then over there are framed posters of Pulp Fiction and Shawshank. And then over here is where the TV is, and behind the TV are posters for The Departed, Brokeback, and Django. There's Frankenstein and The Day the Earth Stood Still posters on the door. There's a Gone with the Wind poster like right in front of me. There's a Sweeney Todd poster over here and a Godfather poster underneath it. And yeah, everything else is shelves.
Well, AJ, you're missing.
There's
you're
like
missing one thing.
There's like a pastel like painting that a guy did of Heath Ledger's Joker that's on that wall. What were
You're
you
missing
saying?
one thing. Okay? One thing completely. What did you not talk about? A bed.
Oh yeah, there is a bed here as well. It's basically it's here as a necessity, obviously, but it's in the way.
We don't talk about what's behind me here. There's a buttload of action figures.
Oh.
There's a lot of clutter that I can't get to at this point.
There's something else very cool that I can show off. This was a gift from my brother a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
If I can get it off the wall. Yeah.
Awesome.
It was like the Heath Ledger Joker thing. It was one of those. I think it was one of those places, wasn't it, where the people were just making them like right there on the spot, and you buy them. I'm not sure what exactly the material is, but it's a painting of some sort of this.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you remember getting this, brother?
I do, and I believe I got it from an antique store, I believe.
That makes sense. Kind of looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
an antique.
Yeah, there's a tag on it. I just realized that.
So, to tie into that, Brian asked, Ashley, are we ever going to see you clean your room?
I'm not saying no, but I am saying highly unlikely.
Same. If you saw what's in that corner right now, you would probably lose your mind. If you saw what's in that corner right now, you definitely would lose your mind.
I mean, don't worry, the house will probably
Oh, by the
fall down.
way,
My house will probably fall down before any of that, so don't worry.
Yes, AJ.
we'll have to mention the poster placement over here with The Departed, Brokeback, and Django.
Mm.
Is the way it's placed with The Departed and Brokeback next to each other. This wasn't on purpose, but like everybody that's been in this room has pointed it out and how awesome it is. Because Heath Ledger's looking down this way on the Brokeback poster, it's Heath Ledger looking down on Jack Nicholson.
Oh, that's cool.
Joker to Joker.
Okay.
Completely not on purpose either.
All right. Brian asks, what would AJ, Ashley, and Chris look like without their beards?
You're never gonna know, at least for my.
I'm 12.
Yeah, Chris looks younger. Ashley looks younger.
Go
AJ just
back
looks
in
the
the
same without
archives of
facial
this
hair.
stream.
This is good.
This isn't here permanently. This does
What?
come off when it gets too bad.
Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen, at least we've seen Ashley without beards.
Yeah, this is the shortest mine. It's like when it's in the light, you can see my chin right now. Like it's that short.
I mean, Chris makes a lot of money with that ZZ Top tribute band, so he's not going to cut that thing anytime soon.
I just the thing I love about my brother's beard is how unpredictable it is.
It's like the smoke literally comes from out of it.
Wow.
And I don't know, with facial hair, I just look homeless. So that's only happens when I'm sick. That's the only time I go without shaving, because if it goes too long, I'm like, I had to shave before we started the show, and I shaved last night before we did the Angus podcast.
Judging the time.
Josie
Chris,
asked who would win in a fight.
Judging from the time, Chris, do you want to go or do you want to stick around?
I'm good. We're going to split Raw up over the next few days.
Ah, okay.
Cool.
The power of the draft.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I don't know if you saw it, but how I edit my brother's wrestling podcast videos. There's a point in time where his wife this past week was talking about how Raw is way too long and she can't do the 3 hours. And the picture I put up is Elaine watching The English Patient with Peter.
Fun fact, he is the first person that I saw do the candlelight procession or whatever. And I only went because of his Seinfeld connection.
John Hurley.
Yep. I've seen so many people do candlelight throughout the years, and it's weird because the other person that I could have seen instead of him was Neil Patrick Harris, who I've still never seen. And he is the hardest to see at candlelight because he's the one that crowd fills up the fastest. So Josie asked who would win in a fight. Are we talking about their beards fighting, Josie?
Oh, is that all it says?
It literally says, like, who would win in a fight?
Who would win in a fight between us?
The three of you guys, I guess.
Well, I'm not confrontational, so I'm just leaving the scene, so it's up to you.
I don't know.
You're not
I've seen some
confrontational.
things that I
There's a
shall leave
wall
in
at
the
our
past.
old house that would beg to differ.
There is a Guitar Hero
Yeah.
guitar that would beg to differ, Chris.
You know, you put your brother through a wall one time, and you just never hear the end of it.
Hey, I'm an only child. I still went through a wall, so we're
When you
good.
were editing my video this week, did you ever find the clip of Braun Breaker spearing Carmelo Hayes through the wall? Because that's what it probably looked like.
Not only did I put pictures of that, when he busts out of the wall, I put the Kool-Aid Man's head on top of him and read, "Oh yeah."
That's what it was like when you put me through the wall.
Oh no! Just because of what time we're living in, I don't think Braun Breaker's someone you want to be putting over right now, especially who he's connected to. Brian asked my favorite member of Voices of Liberty and my favorite song by them. Ooh. Oh God. The song that I've never heard, the one that I'm still, I literally put in my request for time off for July 4th today, like this week. So I'm finally going to be at the Rotunda on July 4th, like nature intended. Golden Dream is the song I've been waiting forever to hear. I've heard so many songs so many times. There's so many great ones. One of my favorite people in Voices, actually, I get along with pretty much everybody, and most of them know me, and know me by name. Aaron and Kelly, and we ran with Kelly back in the day. She lost her father recently, and we ran with him and her when he was battling Parkinson's, and that was a 5K that we did back in the day, and that was awesome. And getting to know her on a personal level, not just somebody I would see sing like weekly. I've been a fan of pretty much everybody. Like, I like all the vocal captains, Krista and Bradley and Brandon. I love most of the basses, most of the tenors. I don't think there's anybody in Voices I don't like, honestly, to say the least. So, I don't know why randomly that happened. Someone decided they wanted to. Tim, we're live still. Anyway, yeah, Voices had a lot of great songs. Somewhere Over the Rainbow is always going to be one that's going to hit 100%, and it still will to this day. There's so many great videos I have of songs that they don't do anymore, and they can't do anymore for a lot of reasons. So I'm glad I have videos on this channel that exist. I don't care if I make any money from them. I'm just glad that people can watch them so they can go back and watch full sets after the fact. And I do that every once in a while too. One of the most interesting verses they did for me was The Little Shop of Horrors, said Josie.
Yeah, that one turned out nicely.
Yeah.
Well, much better than the first time I tried a Little Shop Versus that is now a private video because it sucked that badly.
Oh, man. Ashley, we've come to the Brian question you have to ask.
Yeah.
You see it?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I get outed now. Great. Let's go.
AJ, can you tell us your reaction and describe Owen's reaction, as well as what words he said on the Best Picture incident at the Oscars?
God dang it.
I remember it vividly.
Yep.
So Faye Dunaway says La La Land, and it's like, yeah, obviously. Everybody's doing their thing. He does his very high-pitched yeah thing, which my ears are still ringing from when Argo won when he did that.
Yep.
We were in a smaller room then, though. But
the aforementioned mom's living room.
Yeah.
Because we're eating we had Buffalo Wild Wings left over.
And then we're just kind of watching. And then, oh fuck, what's his name? Said, we lost, by the way. And Jordan Horowitz comes out and says, Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture. And my thought is, oh, he's saying, like, man, you guys were with us all the way. It was a group win. We're all winners tonight. That's what I thought he was saying.
Oh.
And then they say, like, oh, man, we fucked up. Owen goes completely quiet. I'm freaking out. And I'm trying to convince him, dude, this has never happened.
Yep.
This has never. We are watching history happen. This is going to be talked about for fucking ever. And it's happening right now in front of our eyes. And he wasn't saying anything. He was like a very angry statue.
Yeah.
That's about the extent of it, wasn't it?
And the next day, we packed all his stuff in the car, and I moved to Orlando.
Yes, I love how it looks like you got so pissed off about Moonlight winning, you left the state forever.
To pull behind the curtain a little bit, isn't that exactly what happens in the script you wrote as well?
Yeah, the script I started, yeah.
Yeah. We're writing. But literally, I was so angry. I just nope, live in Orlando. Bye.
Well, I guess the script I've been right. I guess you could say.
Correct. So the fun fact about that awards, given the fact that I was supposed to move down here much earlier. I moved down here a couple months earlier, but I wanted to have one last real award season with AJ before I did. And that's the reason why that award season will go down in history as the last award season that we got to have at the same place.
That was also the day Bill Paxton died.
It was. And weirdly enough, we didn't know we would do this kind of stuff back then. And now look what we're doing. We're still doing awards coverage in other states years later, and we continue to do so. God, we got 3 months and we're back at it again.
Yeah, because it was one of those cases where it was like, well, I guess I'll do videos myself, but now that I don't have an employee, it's not going to be as easy to go. But then it was like when I bought the camera, it was like, well, now that I bought the camera, I have to do this.
And it's one of those things that's like, well, we've got this magical thing called Dropbox that we can use. And we can send videos back and forth, things like that. And somewhere along the way, I decided to finally give someone else all the information for the network. And then Ashley can put up his own videos. And AJ was can put up his own videos if necessary, but it's not really necessary most of the time unless I'm completely out of commission.
Yeah, as I say, it's a pain in the ass process for me to do it, but
you're not wrong. And it's even that way for Ashley in some ways too, because this wonderful thing called two-step verification, which is the bane of my existence 9 times out of 10. Ashley will send me this note, and all of a sudden it's like, "What number is it?" I was like, "I'm at work." Josie says, I love hearing Ashley's discussions of literature.
That's interesting, because I don't know when I do that. I feel I barely touch on that stuff. I just, When I do, I just do.
Do we putting the kibosh on chat for 8:30? Is that what we want to do? We still need to go. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes. One's defense against the porn bots is king.
I mean,
That's
partly
a-
that's me as well.
Defense against the Form Bill. That's a Harry Potter fact, right?
Yep. Pretty much.
Partly that's me.
Sure.
Most of the time. 'cause I'm
Ashley is
looking
the
at
one
chat.
that takes care of all the porn bots now.
Yeah.
Oh, and I love what you said about the Fablemans. It's not at all being a vanity project, but self-deprecating. Not many others were pointing that out, but you did. Thank you, Josie. I appreciate that. Sometimes I come up with like pearls of wisdom. Not very often, but sometimes. Josie loved the review of Wolf with the verses.
Oh, Mike Nichols was Wolf.
Yes.
Yeah, with Bad Moon, I think. That was
I
just
believe
last
so.
year, and I've already forgotten. Wolf is really good. So is Bad Moon.
AJ, I got another question for you. Josie asked your favorite horror movie review that you've done.
Well, I don't know if this I don't know if this counts, but the first thing that comes to mind is I love when me and my brother did the top 5 horror movies video.
That's cool.
Like individually. I do not know.
I think
Surely, I'd say surely one of the many times we talked about Halloween would have to be up there.
I ain't over either.
And probably, well, okay. I liked talking about The Shining after the re-release in 2019 when Doctor Sleep was coming out, and that's another versus me and my brother did the Shining Doctor Sleep versus. So, I mean, The Shining might be my favorite horror movie to talk about, so probably any of those.
Cool. Favorite romance movie that you did?
Well, Titanic, obviously.
Sure.
Breakfast at Tiffany's is one of my favorite romance movies. I don't remember if that video is any good or not. It probably isn't because it was an early one.
Sure. Josie, go ahead. I thought you were done. My apologies.
I might be done.
I thought it was so funny when AJ said, "I can't stand birth scenes in effing comedies."
The worst one of all time, I think, is The Backup Plan. The Backup Plan is one of the movies I was talking about where I said movies I forgot Melissa McCarthy was in.
Yeah. I remember when I brought up Bicentennial Man, AJ said he and Chris couldn't tell if it was Robin Williams doing a voice or Robin Williams in the suit.
Dude, we still don't know. Is he in there? That's for a whole 2 hours we kept saying, is he in there? I don't get it.
Hi, Tim. Sorry it took a while to get to your comment.
Have they done
But the
like a
Flash
behind the
movie,
scenes documentary on that to like show whether he has or not?
I have no idea.
We need proof. This is the $64,000 question.
Well, we could probably get it answered if you could find enough people to spearhead a campaign to get it a Blu-ray release or something.
Does it not have one?
I don't know. If it does, I bet the answer's on it.
That's fair.
Was it?
I'm going to Amazon now and see if there's any special features on Bicentennial Man.
I love the way that was set up because you made it sound like you've already done research to see if Bicentennial Man has a Blu-ray release or not.
No, I honestly don't know. Just assume it doesn't.
God.
I see a VHS. I see a DVD.
All right.
You are correct, Chris.
There's the Blu-ray figure.
Tim,
And our special features consist of trailers and scene selection.
That doesn't help. Damn it.
Is there even a commentary?
we good? My favorite of AJ's reactions to buy one, rent one, lose one. Him losing the man, Bicentennial, and welcome to Mooseport.
I mean, that's the thing is, I don't even remember what my actual opinion of Bicentennial Man was, because our only reaction to that whole movie was, is he in there?
Josie asked if you did a book versus as well as movie versus.
I mean, I've integrated a book into a versus when I did A Quiet Place in the Silence.
Yep.
I'm assuming that means like pitting books against each other.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, I like that idea. It'd be very time consuming, probably.
That's fair.
Because I'm one of those people where it's like, I can I actually had this conversation recently where it's like how certain authors read differently. How it could take you like a year to read one person's book, but you could read a book of the same length by a different author if it's written a different way, like a week or a month.
Mm-hmm.
Like Stephen King is known for having like Bible-sized shit.
Yeah.
I can read multiple Stephen Kings over the span of a few months. But if you give me I tried to read a Jane Austen book once, and it took me like 3 months to read 20 pages.
Oh God.
And it's not that one is bad and the other isn't. It's just authors read differently, like they flow differently.
Makes sense.
It would depend on, as far as it being time consuming, it'd probably depend on who and what it was.
Makes sense. Tim mentioned the Flash's movie budget it being $200 to $220 million. Yeah, this is how long ago it's been since we had that question asked. Sorry, Tim.
That's
Josie,
where he gets the wonderful toys.
oh, yeah. Josie reiterates her statement from earlier, Ashley. Love it when Ashley discusses literature. Him mentioning the best era of literature was so interesting.
That's the only time I brought it up. That's the genius thing. I'm a savant. Meanwhile, breaking news. I checked Wikipedia. Robin Williams confirmed in a Las Vegas Sun interview from 1999 that his character was not played by a body double and that he had actually worn the robot costume.
Yes.
He is in there.
He's in there.
Well, that
Maybe.
How many years have we waited to get that question answered?
I think it's been. I think I remember where you were living at the time, which tells me it was about 12 years ago.
That's great.
So I wonder if I can finally. What's that?
That was 12 years ago.
12 or
That was 12
13?
years ago. How long has Ashley been on the channel?
2014. Well,
We could have
officially
this question answered for 9 years.
Yeah. God.
We could have just asked Ashley.
Oh
And
wow.
2014 is the year we lost Robin Williams, so this interview definitely would have happened.
I
by
mean, to be fair,
now. I wonder if I can.
I did double check. That citation was put onto Wikipedia only in 2018, so there is still like a 3 to 4 year gap of nobody could be bothered to put it on Wikipedia. It was just buried there in an interview from '99, but it was only accessed in 2018, and that's when it was put up on Wiki.
Here's
So
the
what I
new
like to
million-dollar
think-
question. What did you type in to get that response? What did you search?
Bicentennial Man production, and it just came up with the first result was the Wikipedia because it was a co-production between Touchstone and whatever other production company. It wasn't actually like how it was made. It's literally just there on the basic Wikipedia. I was looking for like some intricate sort of like in-depth thing, and it was just there as a line on Wikipedia. I don't want to click on anything else in case it makes the computer
There's
blag.
no Blu-ray. There's no information about
it.
God dang it.
You pretty much just did the Blu-ray special features for it just now.
Yeah. Well, apparently.
Now I wonder if I go back. If I go back to.
I was looking up to see if there was like a Blu-ray review or something, and there's like some Blu-ray website, but it's just the standard DVD. And with the extras, it's like there's some trailers and an 8-minute production featurette. So that's why I searched production, because I was thinking, okay, can I get the video of this and mute it and watch it, even though I don't know whether the sound would come through. But then just Wikipedia came to the rescue. But at the same time, I was looking at it. It only got like a 2 out of 10 for extras on their rating scale. But one of the things was the menus look nice, and I'm like, wow, there we go. Holy shit, Citizen Kane, you are done.
Some things go together, just like that's how this thing works. And one of the things that always goes best is Ashley and Wikipedia.
I'm just wondering now if I can go back and watch Bicentennial Man in peace now that I know that.
Yes, you can. You actually are at peace with yourself.
Where are you going to find it? I feel like it would be harder to find that than it was to find Almost Heroes.
That's rough. Brian asked, my favorite singer I've ever recorded. I know that Ariana Grande's Last Christmas performance is the 4th most popular video. Yeah, it's crazy you think that's done so well. I'm biased. Obviously, I love filming voices. And filming voices for This Is Me. They did This Is Me outside when we were not able to be indoors. And being able to know when who the next person was going to be was like an art form. I was like, I don't know how to film this quite yet. So I'm having to film everybody, and I'm trying to make sure that I get close-ups on everybody when I know. And then when I figured it out, it's the best videos because I love being able to just focus on one and then go to the one that's all the way on the other side of the stage because I know that's the next person that's getting the next verse. I love that. And honestly, I've had a blast filming water parks. Those shows are so entertaining, so enjoyable, so like high impact, and just it's something I totally would not have ever imagined myself to dig as much as I do. So energetic. Being in a mosh pit is just crazy, especially when you're filming. Having to dodge people doing like stage diving and crowd surfing and things like that because I'm filming. Yeah, it's fun. Are there any celebrities you guys met you really wish would have recorded a small video for the channel? Example, me and Penn. Yeah. God, to this day, I really wish I would have taken video of me and Penn. That, I don't know why I didn't. I guess I was just so in awe of, that's for you, of what happened. Because that was the biggest bucket list item I could ever want to happen in my entire life. And it happened. So I had nothing on my mind about the channel because I was just focusing on the fact that it was happening. AJ, would you want to have your guys' meeting with Gary Sinise on camera somewhere?
No, because that was awkward as hell.
It was well. The thing about it was hectic.
That's fair.
But like I said, his patience really went a long way. So I actually like that memory the way it is.
Sure, of course.
And I like the awkwardness my brother's talking about because it's just more memorable for that.
Absolutely.
The thing that I don't know about doing a video or anything, but I think I've said before, the one thing I really regret is not talking about more things with Paul Dooley, especially since we totally had the window to.
Yeah.
So it was nice to talk about more personal things about, like, you know, the area and me writing and stuff like that. But God, I would have loved to have talked. Wouldn't you have loved to talk about Curb Your Enthusiasm with him?
Sure.
Yeah.
And Christopher Guest.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, So
Like-
I'm glad what we have. And like I said, I wasn't the Blunt fan that I am now
Sure.
then, and they have a scene together in a movie, and I would have surely interrogated him about that. Like I said, Amy Adams is also in that scene, and I couldn't care less.
See, it's weird because like I have the channel now and I have the connection to the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, and being the big Zack Ryder fan that I was back in the day, I never had him do anything for the channel because I'm not thinking about that. Back in the day I would have thought about vlog, but it's like now it's just I want to just experience it in the moment. Now when I film concerts is a different story. But yeah, the fact I brought up the Tim Tracker being one of the reasons why I do this in the first place, the fact that I got Tim and Jen do, and that's all I got to say about that, which was cool. That's something I got at Hornex 23. So that was a big deal for me back in the day. I thought that was cool, being able to not only like be a fan of somebody, but now they're people that I kind of work with.
Another thing I don't think I mentioned in all dual interaction that I do also love is when he signed my Insomnia DVD, he kind of looked at it at first and he was saying like, oh yeah, the one with Al and Robin Williams, and then after he said that, he like turned to me and chuckled, like acknowledged the fact that he knows Al Pacino just as Al.
That's
and
awesome.
how like even to somebody like him, that's crazy.
I mean, I'm not going to elaborate, but there's some interactions I've had with people throughout the years I'd love to have had on video. Not for the channel, but have been in something interesting to look back on. It'd be great if when I performed with Reba McEntire, it was filmed anyway. I know it couldn't have been, obviously, given the fact, even back then, copyrights were still a thing, and there's no way that would have ever happened. But I mean, the fact that I have that moment, and it's something that I'll always have. So, and pictures, if you have me on Facebook, my mom even dropped the picture on there one day. It's like, show how proud you are of your son. It's a picture of me and Reba standing on stage singing together, and it's not photoshopped. It's a straight shoot. Ask anybody on this panel, they'll tell you the truth. It's all truth, 100%. Cassie says, I've had a couple of movies like that. A Clockwork Orange is a great example. I had to watch it for a movie class. You had to watch Clockwork Orange in a movie class? That's cool.
Yeah, my friend had to do like a book report type thing on the book for A Clockwork Orange, the book for A Clockwork Orange is significantly more disturbing than the movie is.
Brian asks, why do you have a Sesame Street show at SeaWorld Videos channel? Content. 100% content. I got a lot of flack for putting any sort of SeaWorld content. This is during Blackfish. I got a lot of flack for putting any SeaWorld content. I got a lot of people that were trolling me because I put up anything involving SeaWorld. I'll stand by the fact it's one of the best theme parks in this town, 100%. I love SeaWorld Orlando greatly. I cannot wait for Pipeline to open at the end of this month. I mean, we're like days away from it. I'll get to ride it in June. Very excited about that. Mako is one of the best coasters on the planet. Love Manta, love Kraken. The shows are not what brings me to SeaWorld anymore. There's some great thrill rides. I didn't mention Icebreaker because I'm not a fan. I need to ride it again, so it's been a while. But yeah.
Going back to the question about somebody filming an intro, because he's kind of what brought me back to it, brought me out of a dark time. I would love to get Ethan Page to do an intro for our wrestling podcast.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
He's very, honestly, he does stuff like that all the time. So it wouldn't be hard to catch him at like Toy Hio and something and just like ask him if he'd do something for you.
I was thinking about doing it this time.
I would, 100%. Knowing him like I do, like he's not like my best friend or anything like that, but I do know of him and we have talked a few times. Yeah, he'd definitely do something like that for you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, he's good people. And the funny thing, Brian, before this Sesame Street show, was before SeaWorld got its own Sesame Street location in the SeaWorld park, because there is actually a recreation of Sesame Street and a lot of themed attractions in SeaWorld Orlando now. Oh, and if AJ, Ashley, and Chris go to Orlando and you take them to Disney and Universal, what attractions, restaurants, and shows would you take them to? I know one of them is Voices of Liberty. I honestly don't know. I think that the entire panel would love Horror Nights. Maybe some more so than others. I think AJ would love looking at the intricacies of everything. Like, maybe not really trying to get scared or anything, but wants to see, like, how everything looks so monumental and span. Like, for example, it looks literally like your Winfield movie set.
Yeah, I don't know that it would be a scare factor for me. It'd be an anxiety problem.
100%. I get that.
Because of the crowds and, like, the lighting and all that. It seems very intense.
Honestly, if there were a way to make it work, I'd probably spring for like a tour. So that way we could have like a guide and everything. Like, it costs money, but I'd have if there were like, in a perfect world, we'd do an RIP tour, and basically we would pay to go through all the houses, go through all the streets with just a private group, and you don't have to deal with any of that. That would be fun. I would take AJ, Chris, and Ashley all to the Bond Lounge at Deezerland, the location of my theater that I go to every year for at least one Best Picture nominee. Even though they screwed this year and got rid of Pepsi, so now it's not the same. But the props from the Bond movies of the past, I think, would really appeal to everybody on the panel except for me. So, needless to say, I think it's something that they would all appreciate. I don't know what everybody's like for is, honestly. Ashley's complete like blank slate. AJ could go either way, and I think Chris might be, but it just depends. I think I would just tailor it to what they want to do. If they just want to do shows, cool. I think all of them would love the horror makeup show at Universal, absolutely, 100%. Disney, I mean, there's a lot of great things, but I mean, I don't know what they would want to do. I would say Guardians, Cosmic Rewind for sure. Like maybe Tron. Mansion, I think AJ would really dig, honestly. Pirates. Like, there's a lot of things that I would definitely do.
Part of me does feel that I'd get dragged to
We'll be here
the
someday.
British section of the shops or the British version of Epcot and go, is this actually a thing? Is this popular in the UK? Or are they just putting it here as if it is?
Yeah, we're going to stick Ashley and Diagon 12 hours and we're going to see what happens. We're going to put a camera on him.
That's a terrible thing, because if I
He's
just
not
get
allowed-
the wand, I'll stick it up my nose and like try and see if I can get into the ER. Oh no, wait, I'll have to pay for it, so no.
I don't even get to put... I'm not even putting you in Hogsmeade. I mean, at Hogsmeade, you can at least roam around. Diagon, you're stuck. I think Chris would appreciate Marvel Superhero Island, even if it's not the rides per se, but I just the aesthetic of everything. AJ, is there anything you like theme park that jumps out at you from the times that you've been in, like the long, long ago and the way before time? And ET, for sure, I would say. That's a guarantee.
Because I know the one time I was there was after a lot of iconic stuff.
Yeah.
Now, like, most of the things I did are now non-existent.
Of course.
So I really don't know.
And Chris, do you have a thrill factor or not? I don't think we've ever really talked much about theme parks, honestly.
I'm not a rides person. I would definitely be more about attractions and shows.
That's fair. Ashley, what about you?
I mean, I remember I have a sort of, not phobia of it, but the one time I must have eaten wrongly and went on one of those swing boat things.
Ooh.
And apparently I wasn't like
I hate
looking
those
all
things.
right. This is
I hate
a
battering
trigger
rams. Those things
warning
suck.
to AJ. And I came off, and like the people I was with at the party, it was like somebody's birthday thing, and we went on the trip, and they said to me, "Are you feeling all right?" And I said, "Yeah." Like, yeah, straight faced, and then immediately sort of went like the Family Guy thing.
Oh my god. So good. This is why the show exists.
Apparently, I've already been
These
to
are the shows I
America.
enjoy.
I've already been to America, even though I don't have a passport, because somehow I have an E3 2019 exclusive Maya Borderlands pop figure, which shows you where they buy the shit. It shows you where they buy the shit for 50% off at Tesco's from. Holy shit! I only just found that.
So I know the answer to this question. I'm curious about Ashley's answer to the question. Josie asked, have any of you other than Chris ever been on a cruise? With a cruise emoji, of course. Because it's Josie.
No.
Ashley, you ever been on a cruise?
No. Again, you need a passport.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I have. 2 of them. Ironically enough, the only cruise lines I've ever been to were both ships called the Fantasy. I was on the Carnival Fantasy in 1993, and I was on the Disney Fantasy in 2012. And Josie, weirdly enough, there's plenty of really bad shot iPod Touch videos from said cruise that exists on this channel. Just type in, I believe it's under Podcast Cruise 4.0. It's the Dis Unplugged, very popular Disney blog and website. They had a cruise, that 7-night cruise of Disney Fantasy, and I ended up doing that. So yeah, that video is all over the place. Me walking around Costa Maya and everything like that, just randomly, which is dangerous as all get out to do, by the way. If you're filming a vlog when you're in basically a foreign country, sometimes not the greatest idea. They ask you very odd questions, and they don't care if you have a camera or not. Nope, not at all. My voyage was to find the Hard Rock, and I did. Josie asks, and I know the answer to this question, but I'm curious to see response here. Obviously, Josie asked if me and Chris had some of the same teachers in elementary school. He went to a different school than I did. I grew up in Ohio. Chris grew up in West Virginia, so elementary school were separate. And he was and even when I was in high school, he was on the opposite side of the town than I was.
Yeah, my brother the same.
What'd you say, AJ?
Me and my brother's the same teachers.
Yeah, I think I've heard that too.
Were you getting ready to say something, brother?
No.
Dynamite drop in there, Donnie. Parsnip burgers. Josie says she'll save the book questions for the next Q&A. That's cool. Parsnip Burger has done his homework, clearly. Do you still think the term popcasters is lame?
Will I look bad if I say yes?
I don't know.
It's fine. It's fine.
I mean, to be fair, I already made mention earlier on this very show that it's very hard to sway you off of a point when you think it's just, that's what it is.
God. Parsnip Burger asks, list all the things you hold over my head besides asking you to go on the godforsaken internet.
I don't know if I understand the question.
So, Parsnip, I will say right now, above everybody on this panel, and that includes Chris, who would have known more in the day, AJ probably knows more about me than anybody on the planet. And he knows things that no one knows. And I know things that no one knows. That's the best friendship we've had throughout the years.
Hold over your head. I was thinking Parsnip Burger's head. And I was
No.
like, do I have things to hold over you?
So it's literally list all the things you hold over Owen's head, AJ, besides him asking you to go on the godforsaken internet.
I feel like there's got to be so many, but
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, he knows everything. He knows everything about me. He knows everything about circumstances involving me that I'm not going on. I'm not ever going to let be public. Not bad things per se, but he knows like little things and things that are very personal. But that's, like I said, that's a friendship. That's how that works. Chris would have known that back in the day, but there's so many years that have gone by that it's not the same. He knows a lot about my past, but nothing about my present past. If that makes any sense.
So I feel like there's got to be so many answers to this, but I'm just.
I think that's a good sign. So is Owen still bad at math? Is AJ? AJ, are you bad at math? I don't think I asked that. I think you're actually pretty decent at it.
To a certain extent. If you ask me to do a fraction or a percentage, I'm done.
Okay, Burger elaborates. AJ said he had many of them in our first video. You said it as a comment when I was doing my opening.
Yeah, that might be. Back then, I was probably referring to stuff about certain people that are no longer, in this, but still, yeah.
Still get inadvertently brought up from time to time on here, unbeknownst to anyone involved.
I'm guessing that's what that would have referred to.
That's the only thing I can think of. Unless you just made a flippant comment.
I don't think there's an answer that's entertaining.
No. Yeah, Parsnip Burger, I suck at math. I don't care. I've never been good at it. I never will be good at it. It's just how it is. He asked if I still like Special K. I do. Special K has the chocolatey flake cereal that I. But one of the things that I've become a big fan of throughout the years of recent time is Magic Spoon. I think Magic Spoon is great. It's like adult versions of your favorite kid cereal. I mean, it's pricey as all get out. I mean, these are like $8, $10 boxes of cereal, but they're good. They're really good, and they're good for you too. They're protein cereal. What is the movie? What is the movie we don't talk about, and why?
He's talking about everything ever all at once.
He's not. He's talking about something before that, and I think he's probably talking about The Hangover. That's the only thing I can think of.
This is definitely a you question.
I honestly think that might be what he's referring to, Parsnip Burger, because I hate that movie with every fiber of my being. And when we came up, and it was a personal reason I hated it back in the day that no longer has any pertinence at all, but it's not something I'm going to ever revisit again, and I think it's total trash. I feel that about Bridesmaids as well, and I will defend my hatred for those two movies, and also the aforementioned Deadpool we talked about earlier. Again, had a different meaning back in the day, but doesn't matter. I still don't like those. That might be what he's referring to, or might be what we're referring to in that comment, but I'm not exact. Parsnip Burger asked about Will and Ben. What happened to them? Don't know. Will, yes, AJ.
My brother just sent me a picture of Jared Leto dressed like a cat.
That's me.
What?
Oh, that's Ashley. Okay.
No, not me.
You guys have like the same color on.
Not me dressed as the cat. Thank fuck. I just found it ironic that I brought up his name and then he shows up looking like an absolute twat at the Met Gala. Why am I not surprised? He's dressed up like Karl Lagerfeld's cat because the whole event is in memory of him because of his passing. But still, I don't want to put it up on stream because I feel that if you do, it's like the Ring. In 7 months, you're gonna get cat fur just randomly on your body. Shit.
We're talking, and I don't even know where the heck we're going with this. Parsnip Burger doesn't elaborate again.
So many people have been dropping like flies. I saw the yellow, so at first I thought it was my brother, and it was the actual fuck in all capital letters, and then a link. And I was like, oh, did somebody just randomly die?
No.
And then it's like, oh, it's Jared Leto dressed as a kid.
Yeah.
Can you look at that right now? I'll do that later.
Is this his audition for
Parsnip
Garfield
Burger
because of his
says-
Italian accent in House of fucking Gucci? Holy shit. Continue, Owen.
Parsnip Burger says, no, you said you were bad at math. AJ tried to do arithmetic, and he did it incorrectly, and he said he must be bad too.
That's really specific.
That's like asking me about the zombie football player maze from back in the day in Horror Nights coverage. Someone actually did ask me about that. Will and Ben. Will, someone I worked with theater. He was a very eclectic individual that retained a lot of information. There is a Batman video that existed on this channel in name only that I kept tapping my wrist on because I wanted it to end. It was just too long. That was back in the day. I mean, I'm still intolerant towards longer videos, but I mean, I understand the reasoning for them. AJ, you look like you're about to say something.
Is that the one that never saw the light of day?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the one that I Batman trivia?
Oh my god! Then we had Batman Schmepperty, and it was AJ and myself watching Chris versus Will in Batman Schmepperty, and it was, oh my god.
Yeah, I wrote the questions and quizzed them. This was at Buffalo. This wasn't a video, actually. It should have been.
I wanted that to. Why it wasn't a video? I'm talking about he discussed everything about something, and I don't remember what it was off the top of my head. It was like he was trying the entire movie of something, and I remember just tapping my wrist like, take this home. And the video was so long, it literally killed the iPod Touch. I could not upload it, so it never saw the light of day.
I was going to say something else, but I don't want to. It's not like Will slander or anything. Me and him got along really well.
Yeah, same here.
But it was my brother won.
Yep.
The Batman trivia game, and I don't think it took that well.
Will was the aforementioned Mr. Flashback. Will was a cornucopia of movie knowledge. He was the Bond guy here before Ashley was, honestly. He was the Bat Mark, and then he got taken down a couple pegs by Chris, and he never was the same. The thing I was
going to bring up, the reason it really makes me say that is my brother told me about, I don't know if you remember this. My brother told me about where he saw, I can't remember where it was now, he saw Will in public, said hi to him, and Will ignored him. And I was like, I think that's because you won Batman trivia.
Will was the third of our original wrestling podcast. Will did a very beloved Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonations on this channel many times. My former boss, me and Chris's former boss, Ralph, used to make him sing for our meetings. Margaritaville, actually. That was interesting. Yeah, but honestly, Will was a big part of the beginning of this channel, and I definitely have him to thank for us starting to talk about wrestling on this channel, because that's before Ashley joined the network. Me and Will were doing this. We did WrestleMania 29, I believe. Remember correctly? Might be wrong on that year, but probably am, because my math's terrible. But yeah, it was something like that. Ben worked at Journeys. And Ben was he was our music critic for the longest time. And we talked a lot about theme parks and everything like that. And Ben, of course, has probably the most hated video on this channel where he shot on Roddy Radke for a good 10 minutes.
learned this after the fact, and I cannot for the life of me remember how I learned this. But apparently, and I learned this after like he did his videos and everything. Apparently, Ben was a band with somebody I went to school with.
Real Muppet Dinosaur. Real Muppet Dinosaurs, yeah. That was the band that we were promoting that for a while too.
I can't even remember how I learned that. I just knew one day.
Just something random up your head.
That's an interesting bit of news.
I love this. Parsonburger says I watch specific videos and wrote down specific reactions. Parsonburger, that's the reason why we appreciate you being here tonight, because you are the perfect person to take the show home. Because you definitely proving why you have been here for so long, and we appreciate that 100%. Having so much fun right now. I think our chat is about done. I've almost got a few questions left. Owen, do you still say fung instead of cursing? No. God, no. As a matter of fact, there are a few times that I have slipped on this channel, and I'm a lot more lenient than I used to be, but it's hard to find me actually like hard cursing on this channel, because I remember when I first started that I was in the Tim Tracker mindset that try not to curse at any point, and that was one of the things that I was predicating on, like making sure that I did not curse at all. And it sucks that I built up the brand that I have in some ways, because there's so many things, there's so many videos that could have existed. You remember some of the reactions I had, like the Oscar night reaction this year? If I would have been able to say what I wanted to say, like without being censored, I probably would have, I wouldn't have got kicked us off or anything like that, because people talk on YouTube all the time. But I mean, you would have seen a different side of me. The three of them know 100% that I probably curse more than most people on the planet. And
you're probably the most profane person on the panel.
Easily. Ashley. I would put Ashley on that list high.
My brother in his college days was out of control.
That's an accurate statement, too. Ashley, when he gets mad, is probably the most profane that anybody gets on this panel.
Somehow
honestly,
I managed to reel it in now. Basically, I think it's because if I do get mad, nothing changes. So
no, doesn't.
I can still be frustrated, and it's like
Parson and Burger. Parson and Burger wants to know how we met. Obviously, I worked at theater with Chris, and AJ was hanging out with us doing the game night stuff and everything like that. Chris's life took him in a different direction that kind of pulled us apart as friends, and I kind of clung to AJ. And AJ became one of my best friends, and Chris kind of just disappeared, and he just like was gone for years. And then slowly but surely he came back, and I developed such a rapport with AJ now that it's nice to have Chris back, but it's never ever going to be the same, because there's so much that has changed. But I'm very happy that I have both of the brothers in my life again, honestly. And Chris doesn't say a word to that. He just blows smoke out his beard and he's good to go.
That's the smoke of concurrence.
Nice.
What's really funny is I just remembered this. We were talking before about how much we love Pineapple Express, how much we built up Pineapple Express.
Mm-hmm.
The night you guys basically had your fatal falling out,
Yeah.
where things kind of changed forever,
Yep.
was because something had gone wrong with somebody else that was in my life.
Yeah.
It's meaningless now.
Sure.
And then you guys had your falling out, and then to cheer me up, my brother took me to the theater to see Pineapple Express that night. And it sucked that you guys fell out, but it helped. Pineapple Express helped. Like, I was good for the rest of the night after Pineapple Express.
And
I was good at picking movies to cheer you up because remember one day you called me, you're having a really shitty day, and I was like, just go watch Iron Man.
Yeah. And there's the story. I'm pretty sure we told the story on here before, didn't we? Where Men in Black 3 ended your marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been mentioned at some point.
But in the part where, like I said, it's nice to have everybody back in now because Chris was there for me in the beginning, and from people that are no longer even thoughts in my mind. And then when Chris disappeared, AJ was there for the rest of it and has been there ever since. And honestly, like I said, there's no one on the planet that knows me better than AJ. And there's no one that knows more dirt or physical information about me than AJ does.
Physical information.
I don't know. I just wanted to use those terms together. Parsnip Burger says, FYI, AJ already told his town name inadvertently in a video not too long ago. Kind of. General vicinity, but not exact town.
Yeah, we'll keep that kind of.
Kind of. Owen, you covered Celebrity Apprentice in 2013. How do you feel about the legacy of The Apprentice in 2023 after events? AJ's the reason I got into Apprentice in the first place. And I remember us doing videos after the fact, too.
And I told you, my favorite thing, though, is, first of all, when things really started going down, I said, delete those videos.
Yep.
But then I remember, I can't remember which one it was. It was either an Apprentice, I think it was supposed to be an Apprentice video.
It turned into.
You accidentally put up a SAG video. You put up a SAG video that was already up.
Yep.
So there's a SAG video with an Apprentice title on YouTube and an Apprentice thumbnail. That video I think has 50-something views, and nobody fucking said a word.
Nope.
And I think it's still up that way.
Celebrity Apprentice was fun back then, honestly. I was still pissed off that Penn Jillette got screwed. That was the bias thing, but honestly, it was to the point that we had some really heated conversations about that season of Celebrity Apprentice.
There's some things I want to say that I can this discussion, but I don't want to.
Yeah, that's fair.
I want to start a fire.
We're just talking about the show back in the day, like the people that were on the show, not necessarily who was doing the show. The casting of the show, not who was involved with the show.
We need, yeah.
I thought the room AJ was in was the same room Chris was in, with a continuation of more shelves. Figs
like
on one side, DVDs on the other. There you go.
It's like when SpongeBob and Patrick call each other and it's a split screen, and then the reveal is that they're in the same room.
Your reaction, I wanted to be Juno when I was younger, not pregnant, but... Remember that. Right on, Orlando! Shout out. Congratulations on 10 years. Thank you. Congratulations on 1,000 subscribers. Parsnip Burger says, do you still have Buffalo Wild Wings? Yeah, but I'm a little upset because they got rid of trivia, which is what got me to go to Buffalo Wild Wings in the first place. They don't have pretzel salt anymore, so I can't do the salted caramel stuff. But I mean, caramel mixed with honey barbecue sauce is still good. I don't need salt. It's good. And they got this Mountain Dew Legend, which is really good. This blackberry Mountain Dew. I enjoy that. And plus, any place that has Pepsi, I'm all down with. Their food's still solid to this day.
I made a discovery recently that's great. I do think their quality's gone down, but I think that's happening to just every chain in existence now.
I get that.
But I used to also like to get the buffalo wrap from them.
Mm-hmm.
That is now 80% tortilla.
Odd.
But you can make a buffalo wrap. You can custom a buffalo wrap at sheets that tastes exactly like theirs in their Buffalo Wild Wings wrap in its prime. Only it's thicker. So I'm able to go back to that place, just not through them.
It's fair. I've become a big Wingstop guy, actually. It's closer, and I get better deals. Like with Uber Eats and everything, I can get like a ton of wings, a giant thing of like extremely seasoned fries for like a decent price. I don't need a drink because I can just get soda from here because I can get Pepsi here. I don't have to succumb to Coke. So, Parsons Burger asked, "Why did you stop the daily vlogs in 2013? You promised us you would be doing." Honestly, vlogs just didn't work. When everybody's doing the same thing, it's just boring. And my life was not very entertaining in 2013, the point that I really could do daily vlogs and get away with retaining content. It was a lot easier to have segments and popcasts and things like that that just made it better. Like me walking around with the iPod Touch, shop kicking at Walmart. I mean, that stuff, it didn't really do many views anyway. And that's what got me all the heat in the long run anyway. So it's just like, everybody's doing something. It's like, how are you going to be any different? If you are different, you're still going to get bogged down with everybody else. That's the reason why it's like doing theme park coverage in Orlando is why. Everybody else is doing it. I mean, sure, some of them suck. Most of them do, and they don't know what they're talking about. And you could bring a different and a correct opinion that they don't have, that's not out there, but what's the point? Oh, and did you get real angry when Untouchables was not nominated for an Oscar, even though you anticipated it would be? Or did Amore winning satisfy that loss? Yeah, I really didn't like Amore at all. I watched that video like the other day, just preparing for this and what I would say on these videos and everything. And it's weird thinking about the fact that I used to do Oscar predictions before we started doing anything like this, which is interesting. And I remember like literally just like staring at the screen, staring at the iPod Touch, holding it like this in the most awkward way possible before I realized that this is better than this. Yeah, I put not safe for work on the car ride video where me, Ben, and Will are going to Columbus. Yeah, I did. It doesn't have a date on it either, actually, weirdly enough. A lot of these videos don't. Most of them don't. Most of the older stuff, like the 2012 stuff, doesn't have dates on the channel. I was gonna, anytime anybody cursed, I would do not safe for work, and I abandoned that like immediately because most everybody on the channel except for me was cursing, so it's like, what's the point? I will say this, Sam Smith wins for original song for Writings on the Wall, says Brian.
The war, Jesus. If only it was presented like it was a few years later by James bloody Corden. That would have been the ultimate black hole of black holiness.
And unless we're finished, last comment from Parsnip Burger, you didn't include how you met. It's weird, Ashley. I was like listening to you back before like I had met you. I was listening to your stuff on SNS. And actually talked about you during a video. I was like, oh, there's no video this week, so Ashley's not doing a video, so I guess I'm bored and I need to do something to kill time. So it's weird how life works, honestly. Ashley was on the SNS radio network doing a segment called Sticks and Flicks, which I guested on a time or two to talk about the award season. That's what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to get on SNS because it was a really awesome wrestling radio station, and Wrestling News Live was something I was always a big fan of. And back in the day, that was one of the things I wanted to do. Is I wanted to be a podcaster so bad, and I didn't think I'd ever do that. And look where we are now. Ashley was someone I met, and we developed a friendship based on all the things we liked and hated about wrestling. and I asked if he wanted to be a part of this channel. And in 2014, he shot his introductory video, which is something we did back in the day, which there's no introductory video of anybody else on this panel except for Ashley, because back in the day, the only people that stuck around that did introductory videos is Ashley. Bill, take a shot. Ben, Will, and Molly all have videos introducing them to the channel. Yeah, there's a name pass. Needless to say, Ashley's the only one that stuck around. And he stuck around since then. Exactly. And needless to say, I'm very happy that he is still a part of this channel to this day. We've done so many great wrestling podcasts. I still think one of my favorite moments is, Ashley, any parting words? Never gonna live that one down. The Ring of Honor podcast that we did. That was fun. We got up like the butt crack of dawn and did Wrestle Kingdom. That was fun. We've done so many cool things, and we've done a lot of wrestling content on this channel. Ashley's got the gaming content. Now, may not bring the views, but he's very passionate about what he talks about. And if you have not checked out an Ashley video, I implore you to do so. He's got Snack Stash, he's got Gaming with Ash, various other content on this channel. Ashley does not get nearly enough praise about what he puts in his videos. And it would be nice if more people would check them out, honestly.
The closest hype I get is when I get films that people actually go, holy shit, that's actually good. Thanks for bringing it to my awareness. Which I hope will continue.
Apparently, the Academy has changed the rules for cameo. I guess we'll talk about that in 2 weeks.
I'm assuming that's Andrea Riseborough's fault.
Yeah, 100% is. It also, Michelle Yeoh and Tom Cruise, all three of them are called out by Brian. I guess he gets the last word. So, yeah. Done a lot in 10 years. 10 years plus. 10 years of pop. We've done so much. I literally moved and became a whole different person in every way possible. So many people have moved on, and we thank them for their contributions to this channel. Everybody that has been here since day one, everybody that is brand new, everybody that has watched along and took the time to show up tonight and ask some really fun questions. We appreciate all of you. Everybody that's here. Oh, Parsley Burger. Oh, I missed that question. I know I missed it. Do you still have the same camera you used that your mom bought you in early 2013? No, it actually died during a Florida trip. It literally died the day that I got there. So that was fun. I only use my iPhone now. But yeah, if you've been around since day one, or if you're new, thank you for everything. Thank you for making this fun and coming here every single day to try to put a smile on everybody's face as much as we can. AJ has literally come out of his shell on camera, and I greatly appreciate the fact that he's still with us to this day, honestly, because like he said himself, I mean, it could have only been a year, and it probably only was going to be, and we're over a decade in now. So I 100% want to thank AJ for all the reviews, all the verses, all the content he's done, all the various podcasts he's done, all the content, and putting up with me for as long as he has, honestly. Thank you, AJ, for everything. 100%. Thank you for being my best friend in every way possible. He doesn't take comments well and compliments, but needless to say, I wanted to do that. Chris, thank you for being a part of this channel. I didn't know if you would ever come back into my life again after everything happened back in the long, long ago and the way before time. And I'm glad you finally found a way to come back in. And it's weird to think that all the things that we talked about doing back in the day, you're able to do now. So it's awesome. Thank you for being here.
Definitely.
Ashley, once again, I want you to the States someday. I don't know how I'm going to do it because I don't have any money, literally, but rent is expensive. But I will that you have made quite a impact on this channel in every way possible, from your various randomness, which you put on masks and talk to us, the Bray Wyatt impersonation, all the various things we have done throughout the years. Thank you again for sticking along as long as you have.
I just realised I probably should have called that bloody April 1st warning when I did the briefing in honour of Tito Ortiz and the August 1st warning. I missed the chance on the title there.
God dang, yeah, you did. And thank you to everybody that's watched the video, whether it's been 5 minutes, 5 hours, or somewhere in between. Thank you for leaving comments, positive and negative. I appreciate everything that you have all done to help make Popcast Network what it is today and what it will remain to be. I know what you're probably expecting me to say. It's over. Nope. The best yet to come. We'll see you in 3 months for our Oscar coverage to start. And in 2 weeks, we'll be talking Mystery Men for Popcast Movie Club and have a traditional QA show as well. So that's going to be your show today. Once again, Chris can be found on Instagram at Chris Hunts Toys. And put over your podcast because I can't curse on here.
Podcast is Figures and Flippy Shit podcast on YouTube, and where you catch all of your audio podcasts. The audio goes up on Saturday, YouTube goes up on Sunday, edited by AJ.
Ashley can be found at Ash is my name UK. More snack stashes still to come, more gaming content still to come, more Ashley content still to come. If you haven't done it yet, check out an Ashley video. I'm not trying to, honestly, it's like we're not like begging for views or anything like that, but he's got some solid content that I really think that needs to find an audience. So let's find one for him. And he just nods.
Yeah.
Do you blow smoke out your beard too? Anyway.
Something.
Exactly. AJ, just like Keith Richards, cannot be killed by conventional weapons and also cannot be found on any form of social media at all. But if you'd like to leave a comment, you're more than welcome to do so. Or we'll have shows like this in 15 years, or we're talking about this 25 years down the line. Needless to say, who knows where we're going to be by then. But once again, content still to come. 10 years to the day. Scream, Renfield, and I believe there's one more as well.
Murder Mystery.
Murder Mystery, too. Yeah. That's coming on May 3rd, so get ready for that. I got a sip and snack for you for tomorrow's video. And a lot of AJ content coming in the next few months. More north to the fall months, as you know. So, new segments, new videos, new collaborations with Chris. Lots of things still to come, so stay tuned for that. I got more voices content, more sip and snack content, all the content you love. And yeah, if I don't get attacked in the pit, who knows? Maybe we'll get a water parks video sometime in June or July, because I am going to get to finally see them again on June 2nd. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. If you've been here live tonight, thank you for sticking around, and thank you if you're in archive as well. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the description, and check out our Discord if you want to. Lots of cool stuff there. So yeah, you can leave comments about Popcast Movie Club ideas, things like that. And who knows what might come out of it. So once again, from the bottom of my heart, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. Thank you everybody for making Popcast Network what it's become for 10 years. And here's to the future. Stream intellectual property. Buy it at all your brick and mortar stores. Get what Parks the Love it deserves. And in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until next time, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.